He tells it like it is. With decades covering Washington and the really big stories, Ed Henry cuts through the noise and gives you the facts you need to know. Watch Ed on The Briefing tonight on Newsmax 2.
Hi, folks. We're back. If you've been injured in an accident that's not your fault and you don't have an attorney, listen up. We have legal professionals standing by to answer your questions and tell you what your case is potentially worth. Pick up the phone, call now.
I'm Jonathan Lawson. If you're 50 to 85, I have an important message about security. Write down the number on your screen so you can call when I finish. The lock I want to talk to you about isn't the one on your door. This is a lock for your life insurance, a rate lock that guarantees that once you're insured, your rate can never go up at any time for any reason. But be careful. Many policies you see do not have one. But you can get a lifetime rate lock from Colonial Penn. Call this number to learn more. This plan was designed with a rate lock for people on a fixed income who want life insurance that fits their budget and is simple to get. Coverage options start at $9.95 a month, less than 35 cents a day. Act now, and your rate will be locked in for life. It will never increase, guaranteed. This is lifelong coverage that can never be canceled as long as you pay your premiums, guaranteed. And your acceptance is guaranteed, with no health questions. You cannot be turned down because of your health. Call for your information kit and read about this rate lock for yourself. You'll also get a free beneficiary planner. Both are free with no obligation. Don't miss out. Call for information, then decide. Read about the 30-day 100% money-back guarantee. Don't wait. Call this number now.
Call now and you'll also get this free beneficiary planner. Use this valuable guide to record important information and your final wishes. And it's yours free just for calling. So don't wait. Call 1-800-355-9660. That's 1-800-355-9660. There's no risk or obligation. That number again is 1-800-355-9660. That's 1-800-355-9660. Call now.
Welcome back. President Trump declaring the U.S. might reach a deal with Cuba soon, but not before reaching one with Iran.
Cuba President Miguel Diaz-Canel says his country is now negotiating with the U.S. while facing its most severe economic crisis in decades.
If there's no deal with Cuba, though, President Trump says the U.S. might take other actions. That is interesting. We don't know what other actions and what that actually entails, but I believe every Cuban that I actually speak with and actually have seen their posts on social media, they are actually for it.
Yeah, and that's exactly why the government is clamping down on its people. There are blackouts across the nation. And right now we're watching something similar in Iran, maybe similar in Cuba. Maybe the people will come forward and liberate.
Absolutely. And it's similar to the same.
Get the day's top news from a Christian worldview. CBN Newswatch, weekdays at noon and 4:30 on the Dove TV. Encouraging and informative. Good morning. You're tuned to the Dove, encouraging and informative, helping Oregon, Northern California, Idaho, and Nevada start the day with news and encouragement. This is Mornings on the Dove.
Well, good morning to you and happy Monday. Welcome to Mornings on the Dove. And, this is our first week of our 16th year.
Oh, no kidding. What?
Of the Dove TV.
TV? Really?
Yeah.
Whoa.
That's hard to believe.
It is really hard to believe. 16 years.
Actually, let's see here. Did I hear that right?
I hope so.
Yeah, I think I did.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, isn't that amazing?
That is stunning.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Good morning to you.
Wow.
Happy Monday. A lot going on in the news. There always is. Jerry's here.
Yeah.
That's all that counts.
I made it.
You made it?
Yeah, it's
That
nice
doing
out there.
well?
Yeah. We're going. It's speaking of nice, you ready for near 80 or 80?
Yeah, I guess it's going to shoot up, huh?
Yeah, baby. Maybe tomorrow.
Yeah.
So you adjust your. It's funny because I think forecasts are being adjusted as we speak. Because I've been watching my app and it's almost like gas prices. Things are rolling.
Yeah.
You know, it's always going now. So.
Well, last night.
And by the way, it's going up.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It'll go up, come back down.
Yeah.
Once we get the. I guess the escorts through the strait.
Well,
we have that story coming up.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
In the meantime, there was a little event in L.A. yesterday that just pretty much bashed everything on the right.
Yeah.
They call it sensible. They call it life.
Yeah, but it's becoming more and more irrelevant.
It is.
Yes.
There's even some, that was the Oscars last night.
Yeah.
And even some young actors are saying, we don't care about these awards. Let's just go make movies somewhere else.
Yeah. And you know what some of us were doing instead? We're watching the World Baseball Classic.
Oh, were you?
Oh, my goodness. United States against DR, Dominican Republic. What a game. 2-1, 1-on-2 home runs. They are going to the finals. This is kind of like Olympic hockey. And in the sense that on the Olympic hockey teams, all of them that were competing all had NHL players on them, all the good teams, yeah. But this is the same thing. All of these World Baseball clubs have Major League Baseball players on them, and they're all buddies. They play on the same teams. Now they're playing against each other, and it's cool to watch. Anyway.
Well, I didn't watch the Oscars either. I was watching a Mexican bakery program.
Oh, what were they making?
I don't know. You know what's interesting?
Come on.
There's a new series of food shows out there. It just puts the camera in a bunch of cameras in the kitchen.
Okay.
No audio. No narration. No nothing. You're supposed to figure it out.
No kidding.
It shows them making all this stuff, putting it in the oven, bringing it out, and putting it on the shelf and selling it.
No way.
I don't even know.
What is going on?
I think that's biscuits. I think that's a tortilla. I don't know.
No kidding. Are they like having conversations in the studio between themselves or anything?
I'm going. We've watched two of these now, and I'm going. They're kind of boring. So
I would think so.
Yeah. Someone feed Phil. That's very entertaining.
Okay, and you know that's one of the nice things about Chopped is they have them on the clock, and you have that tension going on. Yeah, you guys got to get ready, and the judges are yelling at them. Hey, you got 30 seconds.
That's the drama.
Yeah. So anyway.
Right. Good morning to you. What's special today?
Well, first of all, it is National Everything You Do Is Right Day. Let that sit for a second. It didn't sit well with me. So I thought about it, and I thought, well, I hope that everything you do is right today. But unfortunately, we live in a day and an age where I think the people need to humble themselves and realize that we are not always right. Yeah. We have a big problem with that, I think.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I hope everything you do is right. But if not, I hope you have the sensibilities to understand it and act accordingly. So it's also national.
You ever have conversations with people who are always right?
Myself. No, I have had a few of those conversations.
Oh, I don't know. I'd rather have a root canal.
I hear you, man. I do. Yep. It is National Curl Crush Day. Celebrate by loving and showing your natural, gorgeous curls. If you have them, flaunt them. Flaunt them if you got them.
Curls.
Curls, right. There's a lot of hair products to give curls for folks that don't have it, and there are a lot of hair products to straighten out curls for people who have. Is like, make up your mind. Which one do you want? But if you got them, flaunt them. It's also National Panda Day. Panda.
Okay. So
it's the bear.
The little bear, or
it's the big bear. It's the Chinese bear. They're native to China.
Or that Oriental restaurant over here.
It's Panda. That's Panda Express,
Panda
isn't
Express,
it?
yeah.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds good. Well, they're black and white coloring.
They're about this big, aren't they?
No, pandas, that's koalas.
Oh, yeah, they're about this big.
But they are really little when they're born. But they are native to China, and their black and white coloring was designed by God.
Yeah.
For their natural habitat, because they disappear into the snowy mountains and temperate forests of southwest China. Wow. And they are extremely endangered, and it is their day. And only one thing to eat, but it is healthy. And watch this. You like artichoke hearts?
Ooh, yeah.
Check this video out. This is awesome, how to cut an artichoke heart in the field. According to the California Artichoke Advisory Board, artichokes are a good source of antioxidants, vitamin C, folate, and magnesium. The antioxidants in artichokes are very good for your liver and help promote healthy skin. Artichokes are also high in fiber, calcium, and protein while low in calories. And these reasons, plus being fat-free and cholesterol-free, make artichokes a healthy and delicious food to celebrate. And there's the heart. Did you see that? Was that amazing?
They're wasting that whole artichoke?
Oh, yeah. Look at that. Look at that. And I had another video that a person was demonstrating how to cut an artichoke to get down to the heart. It took this person that I was looking, the first one, a full minute to get to the heart. And I thought, and then I looked at this one, it was seconds. I thought, baby, this guy's got it going on.
I didn't know they did it in the field. So
well, he's just demonstrating how good. Yeah. So, but I think that's pretty cool. Do you like artichoke hearts?
I love them.
Oh, me too. Absolutely. Yeah. So, enjoy. It's what we have to eat today.
Wow.
Yeah, how about that?
Wow.
It was hard to read that because I wanted to watch that again.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
Okay, well, here's a guy that eats artichokes with hot sauce.
Yeah.
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 Here's a look at our forecast from Grange Co-op. Today in northern Oregon and southern Washington, a slight chance of rain before 9 a.m., then clearing to partly sunny with daytime highs in the mid-60s for Vancouver, Portland, Wilsonville, and McMinnville. Moving down the Willamette Valley with a slight chance of rain, then mostly sunny and near 68 in Salem. Mostly sunny skies for Albany, Corvallis, and Eugene with daytime highs in the upper 60s to low 70s. Starting mostly cloudy across central Oregon, then clearing to partly sunny and low 70s in Prineville and mid to upper 60s in Bend and Sun River. Over in Boise, Idaho, mostly sunny and mid 60s and a low near 40. Along the Oregon coast, sunny to mostly sunny skies from Coos Bay down through Port Orford, Brookings, and Crescent City, California. Daytime highs will range in the low to mid-60s with calm to moderate winds. In southern Oregon, mostly sunny skies this afternoon for the Rogue Valley and Klamath Basin with daytime high temperatures in the mid-70s for Grants Pass, Medford, Ashland, and Klamath Falls. Into Northern California, partly sunny in Wairika with a high near 75. Sunny from Redding with temperatures moving into the low 90s through Chico and Sacramento with daytime highs in the mid-80s and a light wind. Sunny and warm today across the Bay Area with daytime high temperatures in the mid to upper 80s from Santa Rosa and Napa through San Francisco and San Jose with a slight west-northwest wind. There's a snapshot of your Monday forecast from Grange Co-op.
Beautiful shot of our backyard and heading in for a warm day. See that little bit of a haze out there? We still may have a little bit of a temperature or air inversion, I should say. Planes are taking off this morning. You know, I've been waiting for a week.
For what? To burn? Oh, yeah.
And it hasn't been a burn day.
I know, and I got a pile waiting. I'm just so.
Well, a little wind would help this situation, but if it's going to be in the 70s today, I doubt we're going to see any allowance for another week or so.
I think you're right.
All right.
All right. Well, we have some encouragement this morning with a seemingly contradictory statement from Dr. Tony Evans.
Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. This morning is sadness over sin. Mourning is sadness over sin. You're mourning because of your sin or the effects of sin, even if it's on others. Sin should make us sad. When we see it in our own lives, the regrets of our sin, and when we see its effect in the world around us, on our loved ones, on our society. The negative effects of sin are no joking matter. You are blessed when what hurts the heart of God hurts your heart too. You are blessed when you feel about evil the way God feels about evil, where it's not dismissed, but it hurts. When you failed God, failed yourself in God's name. When Lazarus died and Jesus saw the effects of sin that brought about death and the pain of Martha and Mary weeping over the loss of their brother, the shortest verse in the Bible says Jesus wept. He cried at the death-dealing effects of sin.
Well, there you go. Good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, good morning to you. 11 minutes past the hour on this beautiful Monday morning. Let's take a look at some of the top stories as we head into the day, most of which you're probably pretty much up to date on, but let us kind of bring you up to date a little bit further. The president is demanding a complete surrender from the leadership there in Iran. There's still great question as to whether or not the son of the Ayatollah is alive. They know he's wounded.
Yeah.
But the president is indicating he could be gone. So we'll see what happens. He's not prepared to declare victory yet. He is saying that even in a ceasefire, which apparently they did say they might negotiate a ceasefire, he said no, he's not interested in that because some of the elements of that don't even meet the threshold of a possibility.
Can I ask a question?
Sure, you do. You do that well.
How can we even consider declaring victory or even talking about a ceasefire? The Strait of Hormuz is completely locked down.
Yeah.
What are they going to do about that?
Well, that's kind of the next story.
Okay, sorry.
The point being is that they don't believe this guy's alive. There's no proof that he is, and there's no proof that he isn't.
Yeah.
Okay, so, but apparently, you know, for the most part, they're pretty much decimated. No, look, you know what? We're only in, I want to say this respectfully, we're only in this 17 days.
That's right. Yeah.
So it's not as if we've been in this protracted for, you know, months and years.
Yeah.
So, no, and to that point, the president's announced a shipping escort coalition is now in the makings. The president is preparing to announce that several countries have agreed to form a naval coalition to escort commercial vehicles through the Straits of Hormuz, which is a critical global shipping lane. And he also said that he's willing to bomb the something out of the the coastline.
Good. Well put. Okay.
In and around the straits there to allow for that. And apparently there was some considerations in days gone past where they just dig a bigger channel right through the peninsula there instead of going around that little thing.
I saw something about that.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
Well, that's long overdue.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah.
Anyway, so we'll see if the coalition of other navies are going to come together, special countries that need the oil. So, but apparently there's still some leftover missiles being lobbed to the neighbors of Iran, and of course the strait is pretty much there.
Yeah.
But the president's declared he's going to pretty much take care of that. So we'll see what happens. But that would be interesting to see what kind of a naval coalition could be put together to escort those ships through.
Yeah, I hear they were asking to Japan to participate in. 95% of Japan's oil comes through there.
Yeah.
But they're not interested. They're not going to join into the coalition. So I think, especially since World War II, Japan has kind of receded militarily to the point where they're reluctant to get involved in anything.
Well, here's the other thing. Let's say they put together a coalition.
Yeah.
Do the owners of those big ships still want to risk it?
Oh, man, that's a great question. And how about the insurance companies that are insuring them?
So do you self-insure for 50 miles or whatever it is?
Oh, boy. I don't know.
I don't know either. I think that they have some more work to do.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this story is kind of interesting. Your good friend, Alan Dershowitz?
The only guy that's on a first-name basis around here with Alan Dershowitz is you.
Yeah, but he's your good friend.
Yeah, thanks.
Anyway, he said yesterday on Newsmax, now listen to this. You talk about twisting the story.
All right.
That Congress should fully investigate the circumstances surrounding Jeffrey Epstein's death.
Oh.
Congress should investigate. Here's what he had to say. Listen to this.
Nobody knows sure how Epstein died. We know there were people out there who had motives to try to silence him. We also know that he thought he had a chance of getting out on bail 2 or 3 days after they found his body. And so he really wasn't motivated to kill himself. On the other hand, it's very hard to imagine anybody getting through the security of the Metropolitan Detention Center, which I have visited numerous times to see clients. It's very, very hard to get through there. So if he was killed, it would have to have been an inside job, and it has to be investigated. Otherwise, this is going to go down in history as one of those other unsolved mysteries, along with the Kennedy assassination and many others. And it's time to put it to rest. The public has the right to know everything about the Epstein case. Right from the beginning, I've urged complete and total disclosure of everything. It's easy for me because I have nothing. I did nothing wrong. There are other people who perhaps did do things wrong, and they do have things to hide. But the public has the right to see everything and to see it now.
Isn't that interesting?
Well, will they do that?
I wonder.
I didn't know that he was up for possible parole in 3 days.
Oh, I didn't either. And
so, look,
it
it doesn't pass the smell test. How do you take one of the highest security prisons in the United States and a guy hangs himself?
Right.
But he's already on suicide watch.
And wasn't there also some kind of lapse in the video security in the wing where he was?
20 seconds missing.
You're right. There's some serious inconvenience.
No, something's really wrong with this.
And isn't it interesting? We're not really hearing this from anybody else other than your buddy Alan Dershowitz talking about investigating his death.
Yeah.
I mean, everything else now is let's see the list. Let's see who's doing bad stuff. But nobody's really talking about who killed him.
Yeah. Well, I really think it's time for them. Look, I'd like this case to just totally get out of the go away.
Yes.
But it needs to be, excuse me, totally unredacted, thrown out there, let the chips fall where they may, and get it out there. And then it may be that Congress would be forced to investigate his death.
Oh, yeah, maybe. Yes. Now, do you think, well, Maxwell, she has mentioned that she didn't think he killed himself, too.
Yeah.
So, and she knows him, she knew him pretty good.
Well, yeah, I would say, yeah. So, anyway, I had some side comments, but that...
Do you?
It would be for cheap radio, so I'll save it later. Anyway, those are the top stories on this Monday morning. What do we have today? Anything?
Yeah, we have artichoke hearts. Yeah, man. And we're going to cut them up real quick.
You like them in the oil and all?
Yes. Oh,
I like them on salad.
I do, too. Yeah. Oh, it's fabulous.
But I also like eating an artichoke and then getting down to the heart.
I know. So do you dip it in butter, mayo? What do you
Mayo.
do? Yeah, mayo's good.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, why not?
All the health benefits of the artichoke go
you
right
call
out the window.
Call your doctor later.
Heir of salvation, purchased of God, born of His Spirit, washed in His blood.
Since 1934, Grange Co-op has been more than just a store. We've been a cornerstone of our community, owned by people like you. We proudly offer top-quality farm and ranch supplies, including our own Rogue feed, as well as workwear, Western apparel, garden essentials, and pet care products. By signing up as a Grange Rewards customer, you not only enjoy exclusive benefits like special offers and 1% back on most purchases, but you also become part of something bigger, a cooperative that you own and help shape. Join Grange Rewards today.
The 71.5 Golf Challenge arrives Saturday, May 16th with a 4-person scramble, morning and afternoon shotguns, and a 6:30 award social. Register your team by April 1st for an early bird special. Score the team player pack for just $20 instead of $100 with the code EARLYBIRDIE. Become a sponsor and help kids across Southern Oregon. Visit 715.org or call 541-779-3275. At the 71.5 Golf Challenge, your drive saves lives.
Monday, angels.
At the foot of the bed was this 8-foot luminous angel.
And demons.
All of a sudden, we hear this guttural-sounding voice come out of her back.
First-hand accounts of the spiritual battle all around us.
On the last beat of my heart, my spirit left my body.
Investigating the supernatural.
That's when I began to realize there's a connection between demons and the UFO phenomenon.
Monday on the 700 Club, right here on the Dove TV. Washington Watch with Tony Perkins is your watchful eye on the nation's capital. Every weeknight, covering current events, issues of faith, family, and freedom from a conservative Christian perspective.
Who is really upholding the law? And
Tony is the president of the Family Research Council and your leading source for what's really happening in our nation's capital.
That's just the tip of the iceberg.
Don't miss Washington Watch, weeknights at 6 on the Dove TV.
Hi, happy Monday to you. Life's fun in the fast lane, isn't it?
Yep.
Sure, we're just buzzing right along here.
Fasten your seatbelt.
All right. Well, listen, I have a recommendation for higher education.
What?
No more money for any university until the leaders of each university takes a new course in economics.
Why?
They don't know how to manage.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So OSU leaders warned the trustees that the university would be forced to make cuts to the muscle and bone if they don't. If they did not support a more than a 5% tuition increase for new and returning undergraduate students.
Ooh.
Now, folks, why are we punishing the students for a school that can't manage its budget?
Yeah. Well, the same reason we're punishing taxpayers for a Department of Transportation that can't manage their budget.
Well, there you go.
Oh, sorry.
Good answer. Bingo. Now, I want to say this respectfully. I'm all for education and higher education, but look, something's really wrong here, where you just have to keep asking for money, and grants, and then now they're going to, listen to this. This is like raising the price on the very product that you make, knowing that you're probably going to lose 15%.
Oh, yeah.
So they're going to raise the price on the students. Well, these students will go elsewhere.
Sure. Yeah.
So anyway, we'll see what that has, but the Oregon State trustees did approve the tuition hike at the universities to help with the budget deficit.
Oh, gosh.
We'll see what the enrollment is.
Yeah, I was going to ask, how is this affecting
5.75% increase on returning undergraduate students. And listen to this. You talk about selective. New students, incoming students, is 6.25%. Why isn't it the same across the board?
Yeah.
Why are you punishing the new students for coming in to pay more?
That's bizarre.
Okay,
Yes.
so the new student, they built into the new student coming in the cost, the increase of the money they're going to need for the next whatever period of time that student's at that college. Okay, and yet the ones who are currently there, they get bumped to 5.7. They get a 5.75% increase. I mean, again, these are people that, well, I want to be polite here, but the point being is this is crazy.
Yeah.
But they got it approved, and we'll see what their enrollment is.
Wow.
I mean, President Bailey here at SOU, I mean, he's trying his best. He inherited the mess. He comes in and he's scrambling, and you got enrollment went down. Why did enrollment down? Because costs went up. So you got to figure out, do you need to have all these programs? You know?
Yeah.
Do you need to have, anyway, take a look at it.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a look at the satellite image. Here's what's going on out there. We have a system way up over the top of us.
Yeah.
Here in southern Oregon and northern California, we're going to see some warm weather for the next several days.
Well, like I said, the temperatures are kind of fluctuating right now. The National Weather Service keeps adjusting their forecast, but they're looking at tomorrow. What does that say?
80 tomorrow.
80. 80. And we're already getting heat warnings down in the Bay Area, the earliest probably on record. So
have you turned your sprinklers on yet?
You know what? We were just talking about that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I turned two of them yesterday just to see if they're going to work.
Yeah.
So two of them worked. When I turned another one on, there was stuff shooting straight up in the air.
I know that deal.
Either fix it or get an umbrella, one or the other. I guess I got to fix it.
It is that time of year. All right. Well, recently, Iran destroyed a very advanced missile defense system in Jordan, and Fox Business's Clayman report spoke with CEO Niccolo De Masi on how his company is using quantum computing to change the rules of the battlefield.
Well, a lot of our work is obviously classified. We have announced a partnership with a drone manufacturer named Heaven. I think it's safe to say that the future of the battlefield runs right through quantum computing, but it's also our quantum sensing capabilities that are important for the warfighting domains that matter on the modern battlefield. We're working on both short, medium, and long-term initiatives. Most of our quantum sensing activities are in areas that help things like submarines through the spacecraft know where they are. But also, we're thinking ahead to obviously a world where quantum computers are more prevalent and where quantum security is vital. And so protecting our communications posture, not just for civilians, but of course for the modern battlefield, is front and center. Our post-quantum cryptography, our quantum key distribution, and of course, calculating logistics and looking at all the permutations and combinations that you can forecast are front and center for what quantum computers promise to bring, with IonQ very much leading the pack.
Yeah. Well, okay, so what do you do with that?
I don't know.
Okay.
Quantum computers.
Quantum computers.
Whoa.
I think they're the size of this room.
They must be. I'm reading about them. They're
huge.
They're huge, and they do things that ours don't, obviously.
Well, are they AI driven?
I wonder. That's a good question.
I remember reading an article with the president of Google basically saying, and I'm paraphrasing, he was talking to a bunch of people and giving one of his lectures, and he basically said that if you're a student studying computer programming, immediately stop getting your degree in that and go for something else, because AI will and already has replaced you.
No kidding. Oh, my God.
So large companies are building what they call data towers, and they're using AI to write software for their company, and then they go into a hackathon with their own staff.
Yeah, yes.
So they take what their AI is already conceived of and developed. They go into a room, they sit there, and with all their brainiacs, they try to hack their own system.
Yeah.
And if they can't hack it, then they fix it, and they fix it, AI fixes it.
Okay.
And then they've created this power tower, so to speak, and it's a coalition for other people who use the same kind of software to come together. It's a big deal. This is big, big stuff.
Yeah.
And this is how they're going to create a coalition without creating a monopoly. So the only thing I can say to, what do they call it, a mega computer? What is that?
Quantum computer.
Quantum computer. It's probably being programmed by AI. You know.
So, yeah, I would think so.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna design. That's what we need to do.
What?
We get AI to design a series of quantum fishing lures.
Oh.
And they'll all be quantum. They'll be state of the art. All designed by AI, with certainly the fish's perspective in mind on how you present these AI lures to them. So, yeah, quantum lures.
Well,
Think about it.
You'd never be allowed in Jason's boat.
Why, he's a purist. You guys.
Yeah, but flies only.
I was going to say, he's a
Flies
purist.
only.
And yes.
You can take your lures and hang them on your hat.
Okay, here's what we'll do. We'll have our quantum computer match the hatch. Oh. How about that?
How about if we have a fish off?
Okay.
Between flies and lures.
No, let's have a fish bake.
Oh, okay.
Bake off. Okay.
All right. We'll take a artichoke heart break. We'll be right back.
All right.
Since 1934, Grange Co-op has been more than just a store. We've been a cornerstone of our community, owned by people like you. We proudly offer top-quality farm and ranch supplies, including our own Rogue feed, as well as workwear, Western apparel, garden essentials, and pet care products. By signing up as a Grange Rewards customer, you not only enjoy exclusive benefits like special offers and 1% back on most purchases, but you also become part of something bigger, a cooperative that you own and help shape. Join Grange Rewards today.
The Lennox iComfort S30 thermostat can sense changes in your environment. It even knows when you come and go. So now your home's most important system is also the smartest.
Metal Masters can give you the smartest home comfort system available. It knows when you're away and adjusts when allergens and humidity get uncomfortable. Trust Metal Masters to provide perfect air for your family.
Lennox. Air is life. Make it perfect.
If you don't drive it, donate it. By supporting us, you'll get even more mileage out of it.
Thank you from the Dove TV.
Christ belongs to all people. He belongs to the whole world.
For 60 years, Billy Graham and his team took the message of Christ to the world.
Have you been born again?
Telecasts of Billy Graham crusades continue to reach millions with the gospel.
If you repent, he will forgive.
Relive these moments on Billy Graham Classics.
Jesus said, "Follow me. Come and change the world with me."
Billy Graham Classics, Friday and Saturday on the Dove TV.
Well, good morning to you. Happy Monday, as we all back at it, back to work, back to school, warm weather, spring teas this week. The first day of spring is Friday.
Oh.
So we're kind of working our way up to the first day of spring.
Yeah.
Tomorrow is
St. Patty's Day.
Yeah. Corned beef and cabbage.
Yep.
And boiled potatoes. And hot mustard.
And yes, it's all good.
Okay, that's St. Patty's Day. By the way, he was quite the evangelist, you know.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we celebrate, shamrocks and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
But he was an evangelist.
Absolutely, yeah. Sometimes forgotten,
Yeah, we forget that. All right, let's check out CBN News Watch and get the latest from Israel.
I think the biggest news, Chris, that everybody's talking about is the 2,500 Marines that are headed to the Middle East right now. The conflict is limited to the Strait of Hormuz. This is not boots on the ground, even though it's boots on the ground. And I wanted to get your hot take on that first. They're saying, the administration is saying it's not boots on the ground, but they're deploying 2,500 Marines to protect this oil infrastructure, the Iranian oil infrastructure. Wouldn't that be categorized as boots on the ground?
Well, yeah, it would be. If there's not already boots on the ground, special ops already on the ground.
That's fair.
They would be there. Presumably, if they're going to take over this island, which about 90% of the crude oil that comes out of Iran goes through Karg Island.
That's right.
That considers about 2% of the world's total oil supply. Now, what they did Friday night is that they hit all the military installations on the island, none of the oil facilities, and just sending a signal. So if they go in with the boots on the ground, take over the island, that really is a stranglehold on Iran by choking off their ability to send their crude oil and feed their economy.
Well, as the viewers just saw some of that B-roll, they've got amphibious vehicles, they've got all kinds of toys they're going to use. They're coming in on the USS Tripoli, which was out in the over by Japan.
Right,
so the reports are saying that they're still at least a week away from their arrival. Another thing I wanted to touch on, Chris, which is pretty wild, there's a bunch of fake news about Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Is he alive or has he been assassinated? Chris, I'll turn that one back over to you as well.
Well, we talked to his foreign policy advisor. We'll have him later on this YouTube Live, and I'm pretty sure that he's still alive.
There's also an interesting report that came out today that can also be considered fake news, which is that the Israeli military is running out of interceptors. And Chris had a great interview, which we'll also see later today, that also claims that that is also fake news. The Israelis are well stocked, as is the U.S. military. And the last thing, of course, is here in Israel, the latest from last night until today. Every 90 minutes, Iran has launched a missile. So from midnight until today, around noon our time, every 90 minutes, we've been seeing a missile come in from Iran, and of course, continued missile fire from Hezbollah in the north. So there's been a lot of activity, and it's interesting because we had hoped that it would slow down by now, Chris, but it seems that there's just a consistent flow of missiles in spite of all of the efforts, all of the positive momentum that's happened in the war so far.
And one thing they're doing in the Operation Roaring Lion as opposed to Operation Rising Lion, which was last June, is that they're not firing at any military targets. It's all civilian targets, all from north to south.
Well, that's the update from Jerusalem.
Yeah. Well, joining us live right now from Yerevan, Armenia is CBN Senior International Correspondent George Thomas. George, great to be with you. Tell us what's the latest there in Armenia.
Yeah, you know, of all the countries that surround Iran in this 2 weeks since Operation Epic Fury began and Operation Roaring Lion began, the one country that has escaped any kind of wrath from the Iranian regime has been the country that I am in today, Armenia. All the surrounding countries from Azerbaijan to Iraq to the Gulf countries have all in some way, either by drone or ballistic missile, have been impacted. Armenia is the only country that has not been touched so far. And talking to my sources in the Armenian government, a part of that is because of a long-standing relationship that Armenia has had with Iran over the years. And in recent, I would say recent months, they have a new relationship. I mean, it's been there before, but they're strengthening the relationship with the United States. Vice President J.D. Vance made a historic visit to Armenia, the first highest ranking U.S. official to come to this country, and they signed a number of military cooperation deals as well as land border issues. It was a major deal, and there's a burgeoning relationship that Armenia would like to have with the United States. But at the same time, the folks that I've been talking to inside the government, they are very, very concerned. Even though they've not been hit, guys, they're very concerned as to where this is going, what the end goal, what mission accomplished looks like, and how long it will take to get to that point, if at all. For example, regime change is in the calculus, if that is the mission, the final mission at the end of the day. But in the meantime, they're very, very concerned because they live in a region that is fraught over the years, for the last 20, 30 years, fraught with all kinds of upheaval. You just have to look at Iraq, what they've endured over the last 25 years. Then you go on the other side of the Iranian border, you have Afghanistan, you have the turmoil there. And then obviously with ISIS and Al-Qaeda mushrooming in the region, they know what happens when the United States gets involved militarily in the neighboring countries. So they are watching, keeping a very, very close eye. I was there at the Iranian-Armenian border a couple of days ago. Not a lot of foot traffic coming across the border, a lot of trucks, vehicular traffic, goods going back and forth. But so far, not so much, not really to report on sort of a mass migration outside of the country yet.
Well, they got some things to do. So boots on the ground's not boots on the ground.
Yeah, we're kind of trying to figure out what that means, huh?
I think it's just, from what little we know, we don't have all the inside information. They're going to penetrate the shorelines of the strait significantly to wipe out anything that would be underground there, any way, shape, or form.
Sure.
They get rid of all those missile launchers. Okay. They put a missile launcher in the back of a 1973 Toyota pickup and drive it around.
That's right.
And,
yes.
You just got to go hunt those things down.
Yes.
Anyway, it appears to me that's what it is. But the president's going to take heat on that one.
Oh, I think so. Yeah. Yeah, big time.
But I did see a rating of independents' view of Democrats right now.
Okay.
Minus 55%.
What?
Independents.
No kidding.
Independents, minus 55.
Whoa.
How do you come up with
How
that?
do you do that? Yeah.
Well, I think what it is the shutdown of the government.
Well, again,
you got TSA now going a month without a paycheck.
Right, and many are quitting. And
you can't do this.
They're trying to get second jobs so they can keep going.
Yeah.
And Democrats keep stopping, the ability to fund.
In the middle of a war.
In the middle of a war, yes. Yeah.
Crazy.
Oh, wow.
All right, let's check out the largest artichoke fan on the face of the earth.
Here's a look at our forecast from Grange Co-op. Today in northern Oregon and southern Washington, a slight chance of rain before 9 a.m., then clearing to partly sunny with daytime highs in the mid-60s for Vancouver, Portland, Wilsonville, and McMinnville. Moving down the Willamette Valley with a slight chance of rain, then mostly sunny and near 68 in Salem. Mostly sunny skies for Albany, Corvallis, and Eugene with daytime highs in the upper 60s to low 70s. Starting mostly cloudy across central Oregon, then clearing to partly sunny and low 70s in Prineville and mid to upper 60s in Bend and Sun River. Over in Boise, Idaho, mostly sunny and mid 60s and a low near 40. Along the Oregon coast, sunny to mostly sunny skies from Coos Bay down through Port Orford, Brookings, and Crescent City, California. Daytime highs will range in the low to mid 60s with calm to moderate winds. In southern Oregon, mostly sunny skies this afternoon for the Rogue Valley and Klamath Basin with daytime high temperatures in the mid 70s for Grants Pass, Medford, Ashland, and Klamath Falls. Into Northern California, partly sunny in Wairika with a high near 75. Sunny from Redding with temperatures moving into the low 90s. Through Chico and Sacramento with daytime highs in the mid-80s and a light wind. Sunny and warm today across the Bay Area with daytime high temperatures in the mid to upper 80s from Santa Rosa and Napa through San Francisco and San Jose with a slight west-northwest wind. There's a snapshot of your Monday forecast from Grange Co-op.
And there's a snapshot of Mount Ashland this morning. Well, a little pocket of snow up there, not much, but a beautiful view. Gorgeous view.
Absolutely. Well, a very big day in U.S. military history happened on this day. Let's take a look. On March 16, 1802, President Thomas Jefferson signed a congressional act creating the United States Military Academy at West Point overlooking the Hudson River in New York. The Academy officially opened its doors a few months later on July 4, 1802, training a small group of cadets. West Point quickly became one of the nation's most important schools for engineering and military leadership, and today it's the oldest U.S. military service academy and the longest continuously occupied Army post in the country. Its graduates have shaped American history. Among them, Civil War General and future President Ulysses S. Grant, World War II Supreme Allied Commander and President Dwight D. Eisenhower, and legendary General Douglas MacArthur. But during the Civil War, many West Point classmates actually fought on opposite sides of the battlefield. Yet the Academy's guiding motto, Duty, Honor, Country, has continued to define generations of leaders for more than 2 centuries.
Oh, there you go.
Hey, did they ever have to deal with wokeism in West Point? I mean, because we know that in higher education that tends to happen, and we know that we had a little problem with wokeism in the military in the last administration. Was it in West Point? I never heard anything about that.
Well, I don't know the answer to that. I can't help but think that it is, and
yeah, I know.
And it certainly was, from what I understand. Even at the Air Force Academy in Colorado, it snuck in there. But I think with most of that has been pretty much gone now.
Yeah.
Especially with
under this administration. Yes, good deal.
If you join the military so that you could have the government pay for your transition, have a nice day.
I think most of us are still just in disbelief
well,
about that.
That's what was happening.
I know.
So anyway,
that's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. All right, Dr. David Jeremiah, kind of along that line, socialism, why is it so attractive, and how does it line up with Bible truth? Okay? Can socialism, let me put it this way, can a Christian be a socialist?
No.
Okay, well, let's let him explain it.
Okay. All right.
Socialist visions and policies are invading the United States. You'll hear it discussed under 4 different names. Some people call it socialism, communism, Marxism, and cultural Marxism. Socialism seems to hold some sort of hypnotic power over many thinkers. A 2020 poll showed that 40% of Americans had a favorable view of socialism. So what is socialism? Well, socialists believe that the world's means of production, like infrastructure, farms, factories, energy, natural resources, medicines, and more, should be under the control of, quote, unquote, the people. In other words, society as a whole should own all the raw materials and the systems that produce wealth. In a free market system, these materials are controlled by companies or individuals, but in socialist countries, they are owned by the people. Of course, there's no way to make decisions based on such a loose concept as the people. So under socialism, the government becomes the sole authority and controller and the means of production. Unfortunately, governments are controlled by specific people, often the kinds of people who seek out power. And those people are entirely corruptible by greed and selfishness and the overwhelming desire for power. As more power flows to the government, the handful at the top become dictatorial. To understand socialism as it is in our culture today, we must first understand the originator of socialism as we know it. He was a man by the name of Karl Marx. If you study the life of Karl Marx, you'll learn that he wasn't just a hater of God. He was a cheerleader for the devil. His family thought him possessed by a demon. A biographer described him like this: he had the devil's view of the world and the devil's malignity. Sometimes he seemed to know that he was accomplishing the works of evil. Karl Marx died in despair on March 14, 1883. Just before his death, he wrote to his friend Engels, "How pointless and empty is life," he said, "and yet how desirable." He was buried in the Highgate Cemetery, considered the center of Satanism in London. Today, Karl Marx is ruling the world from his grave. And here are some of the characteristics of his ideology. Number one, Marxism is anti-God. Karl Marx hated Christianity, which he saw as a source of oppression. To him, religion was the opium of the people. For communism to succeed, loyalty to the church had to be replaced by loyalty to the state. On one occasion, he described the church as medieval mildew that had to be scraped away.
Wow. Whoa.
Well, you know, he can say it and get away with it because he has the credibility. And the only thing I can say is that we're at a time now, I think, as believers, again, do you really know what you believe? And do you really know why you believe that? And can you gracefully defend it? And what I mean by that, not argue, not jump up and down, but with absolute confidence that what you believe is true. And the closer you get to God, the more realistic His Word becomes, and the more humble you become because you realize you do not have all the answers.
Right. Yeah.
And so the only thing I can say is that we're coming into a point now where Christianity has to decide that any form of socialism is the camel's nose under the tent.
Oh, great.
You can't have just a little bit of it.
Yeah.
You got to reject all of it.
Yeah.
All the way down. It's tough love. You got to reject all of it.
Camel's nose under the tent. That's very good. And it also, I think messages like this should be preached in our churches too, because this socialism thing, it bleeds into the church as well. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy stuff.
Yep.
All right, we'll take a crazy break.
Okay.
A break from craziness.
Yeah.
We'll be right back.
Yeah.
So much in my heart, I've got joy, 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 and a peace that won't depart, since He set me free from my foolish pride.
When technology slows you down, your business and your life feels it. That's where Rogue Tech Pros comes in. We provide business technology services, managed IT services, and custom phone systems for businesses and homes. Our award-winning team takes time to understand your unique needs and builds a customized plan to keep your systems running smoothly so you can focus on growing your business while we handle the IT headaches. Find us at RogueTechPros.com. RogueTechPros.com. We keep IT simple.
At Sweet Tea Express, we've got you covered. Order at the counter and our friendly service staff will do the rest. Burgers, salads, sandwiches, barbecue platters, sides, and more. Smoked, grilled, and served to perfection. Sweet Tea Express. Breakfast, burgers, and barbecue.
Hi, I'm the SOS Alarm Guy, here to tell you about a great deal. SOS Alarm will not only beat any internet deal, but will install the system too. So burglars, beware. SOS Alarm for security and beyond.
Stewardship begins with the knowledge that nothing belongs to us, but everything belongs to the Lord. This helps us to run a business not in the fear of lack, but in the assurance of His care and provision. Such a perspective eliminates the drive to sell and replaces it with a heart that says serve. This begins with serving our clients and coworkers with integrity and genuine care. That's why McKelly's is automotive service with a heart for God, and treating others as we ourselves would want to be treated. Our promise is to never sell our clients anything we don't believe they need. Another is to do all we can to meet other needs, such as shuttle service and loaner cars, or taking the time to really listen, even at times praying with our customers. Sometimes this means sacrifice, going above and beyond, but that's why I work for Kelly's Automotive Service, honoring God while serving people with honesty and integrity.
Okay, welcome back. 10 minutes before the hour, and there's more and more statistics coming out. Of course, when we have George Barna on, he's kind of the chief researcher in all this. When he first started this several years ago, he realized that a biblical worldview among Christians in the United States, only about 8% had a biblical worldview.
Whoa.
No.
Whoa.
You have to define biblical worldview versus Christian worldview. So there's a significant difference. But the point being is, you literally believe that God's word is true. Okay. And I'm paraphrasing the essence of it. Okay. Well, in 4 years, it's gone from 8% to 4%.
Whoa. What's
happening? And so I asked Dr. Adam Rasmussen, he's with the research department there at Arizona Christian University. What do you think is the reason for the decline of a biblical worldview? And here's what he had to say.
It just comes back to teaching the Bible in our churches. I mean, if you look at your hand, you've got 5 fingers, and it's really simple to put the message there. Christ died for our sins. 1 Corinthians 15. And Paul says it is of first importance. And one of the things that is not happening is we're not talking about sin in our churches. We're not teaching the Bible. And how in the world can people come to know the gospel, how the gospel relates to them, how the gospel is seen in the whole Bible, Genesis to Revelation, and then how the gospel and the Bible relate to all of life. And that's what we're talking about. We do have people that have some of the answers and probably have faith in Christ. We call these emergent followers, and they are about 10% of Americans that have understanding, maybe even salvation. And so you put those two numbers together, and there's about 14% of Americans that are holding on to those truths of the gospel, but we want to see them discipled up so that they can become integrated disciples where all of life is for the Lord, not just Sunday mornings, not the Sunday Monday gap. So that's what we're dealing with. The other number is about 85%. These are what we would call world citizens. And they may have some religious language, even some biblical language, but they don't really operate from a biblical worldview at all.
Okay. Part of the research also shows that when the American church did away with Sunday school, there was a significant decline in Bible knowledge. You used to go to Sunday school for 45 minutes before you went into morning worship service. Then it kind of switched to where there was Wednesday night services, where there was a Bible study for the adults and catechism or Christian basics taught to young people. That's been done away with. And so you can't expect to get a full Bible knowledge on an hour sermon on Sunday morning. It doesn't translate. So then that puts pressure on parents. Are they holding any kind of biblical studies at home, which is probably not, because both parents are working. So we've had a massive decline in Bible knowledge, you know, and that goes back to, do you know what you believe? And do you know why you believe it? So, and there's a lot of bad theology out there too. So when the seeker-friendly movement came in, and the name it and claim it movement came in, it really scattered people a million ways. And so basic Bible theology has to do with the subject of sin, and we did away with sin because it offends people.
I know what let me ask you this. So in 1 minute, can you tell us, I know what a biblical worldview is. What's the difference between a biblical worldview and a Christian worldview?
Well, a Christian worldview can be your interpretation of Scripture.
Okay. All right.
And it can come from your denomination. It can come from your own Bible study. It can come from your lack of knowledge. It can come from the fact that you don't believe that the Old Testament is relevant anymore. It can come from it comes from all of the non-essentials. And so, it sounds good. I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there that has just enough Scripture applied to it that you think it's good. But it's all taken out of context.
I just got a text says, yes, that's true, but Sunday school has been taken out of a lot of churches, but not all churches. But thank you for that. But you're right. There has been that movement. You're right. Absolutely.
We have a lot of young people that have never even taught the story of Noah.
Exactly. Yes. All right.
So no wonder they're skeptical of a world flood.
Yeah. Yes. Even though the evidence is everywhere. It's
all right, so much for all that stuff.
This is fast. A group of school dads in Texas surprised a beloved crossing guard with a real show of appreciation. Check this out. At an elementary school in Richardson, Texas, a group of dads decided it was time to return the kindness their crossing guard shows their kids every day. Tricia Crawford, known to students simply as Ms. Crawford, helps children safely cross the street outside Moss Haven Elementary. Families say she's more than the person holding the stop sign. She greets kids with a smile, reminds them to stay safe, and knows most parents by name. But recently, Ms. Crawford had a challenge of her own when her car broke down. She still showed up for work, first paying for ride shares, then taking the bus when the cost got too high. When members of the school's Dads Club heard about it, they quietly rallied the community. In just a few days, parents raised thousands of dollars. Then came the surprise. The dads presented Ms. Crawford with a white Jeep and even helped cover insurance and maintenance to get her started. A simple thank you for someone who helps keep their kids safe every single day.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, love it.
Good stories. All right, take with you 1 Thessalonians 5:24. Faithful is he who calls you, and he also will bring it to pass. We'll be right back.
At Sweet Tea Express, we've got you covered. Order at the counter, and our friendly service staff will do the rest. Breakfast served daily until 2 p.m. Breakfast burritos, biscuits and gravy, skillets, omelets, and more. Sweet Tea Express. Don't get caught hungry.
I'm Susanna, and I contracted KA Designs to do custom cabinets throughout my house. We chose a really beautiful maple wood that really creates like a nice airy space. Everything was custom, and it was really cool because I got to literally see it come to life in person. We love to entertain, and we have a large family, so everything came together perfectly, exactly what I wanted. I highly suggest KA Designs if you're looking to design your dream house. Go check them out in their showroom. You will not be disappointed.
Over time, every wall tells a story, but sometimes those stories need a fresh start. At Chris Silva Painting, we specialize in transforming indoor spaces, whether it's your family home or your business workspace. With premium paints, flexible scheduling, and expert attention to detail, we make the process simple and stress-free so you can focus on what matters most, living and working in a space you love. From bold new colors to subtle tones of sophistication, let Chris Silva Painting bring your vision to life, one wall at a time. Chris and his crew are courteous. They're efficient, organized, timely, and clean. Chris Silva Painting also offers military discounts. At Chris Silva Painting, our mission statement is to bring Christ's heart and principles to our customers and our job sites. We do that with honesty, integrity, and hard work. We don't cut corners, we paint them. CCB number 176097. Chris Silva Painting, 541-890-3960. 541-890-3960.
Hi, I'm Bayless Conlon. In life, we all face uncertainty, whether it's financial troubles, relationship valleys, a health crisis, or just trying to discover your purpose. One thing is for certain, God sees you. He loves you, and no matter what you're facing, He has the answers.
Get Answers with Bayless Conley, Tuesday, Saturday, and Sunday on the Dove TV. Encouraging and informative.
Today on the John Ankerberg Show, life can be full of surprises. One day you can be feeling wonderful, and soon after the doctor may diagnose you with a life-altering disease. Accidents, weather disasters, the coronavirus, disabilities. Today you will hear from two people who will answer the questions surrounding the topic, where is God when life hurts?
Join me for the John Ankerberg Show right here on the Dove TV. It'll be encouraging and informative.
You're watching the Dove TV, encouraging and informative for Salem, Portland, and the Willamette Valley. Seen on KWVT 17 and these Dove TV affiliates. Good morning. You're tuned to the Dove, encouraging and informative, helping Oregon, Northern California, Idaho, and Nevada start the day with news and encouragement. This is Mornings on the Dove.
Well, good morning. This is Mornings on the Dove. I'm Jerry Bilden. Oh, yeah, we do have someone else here. Good morning, Perry Atkinson.
Yeah, I'm around here.
Hey, man, you're pretty quick. You are pretty quick. You
got over checking for artichokes. They're not there.
They're not there.
Hold on, I got to get plugged in a second here.
Oh, man, I didn't know you were that quick, man.
I didn't.
That was pretty impressive.
You know what? I have to. Sorry about that.
That's all right, man.
I thought it was the other break where we have more time.
Yeah, you thought it was CBN News.
Yeah,
I know.
I'm sorry. Here I am. Good morning to you. How you all doing?
Yeah. Welcome.
Happy.
Glad you could join us.
Happy Monday to you. Welcome to Mornings on the Dove, where just about anything goes, and we just proved it.
Yes, indeed.
And a lot going on in the news today. We have that for you. The weather, wow, what's going on here, man?
Yeah, it's warming up. It's like spring has sprung, and then summertime even. I mean, we're even getting heat warnings down in the Bay Area, the earliest ever. We're going to bump into 80, maybe 80 tomorrow. Sunny out there. The buds are out. The lawn needs mowing. I'm going to have to turn on my irrigation system pretty soon. I mean, like real soon.
Yeah.
And here we are.
And no burn days.
And no, I got a big pile.
I do too.
Yeah, I'm sure a bunch of people do too. Yeah. You know what I do? I drive home. I look for smoke plumes.
Okay, but you know, you got to know where the area is. Now, they say all Jackson County, but there's this line out there. My neighbor can do it. I can't.
Oh, if your neighbor can, then I think I can.
Well, I'm afraid I'll get caught, so I don't do that.
Well, yeah, no,
I have to be a good citizen.
Oh, I do too. I want to be a good citizen. But if they're outside the line, I'm further out than that.
No, the neighbor on the other side of me, not the one in front of me.
Oh!
Literally, my house is the line, literally.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
So the neighbor below me, he and I can't do it, but the neighbor above me can.
Wait a minute. There's something wrong with this system.
Yeah, I know. There's something wrong with every system. Sooner or later, you can pick it to death, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway, good morning to you. Happy
man.
Monday. A lot going on in the news. Anything special today?
Well, National Everything You Do Is Right Day, including spark that pile. I'm sure you'll be right.
Yeah.
He'll be writing you up saying, yeah, you're right to the tune of about $500, but whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Well, you know, I hope everything you do is right today, but, you know, especially in the day and age in which we live where nobody wants to be wrong, you know, we need to humble ourselves and realize sometimes we are wrong. Can you admit it? It's tough sometimes. It's tough.
First of all, the most difficult person to deal with are the ones who cannot admit.
Yeah, that's true.
They're wrong.
That is a very good point. Yeah.
Go have a root canal without Novocaine on the sidewalk on a 100-degree day.
Oh, gosh.
It's less painful than trying to deal with somebody who's always right.
Always right, yeah. Oh, golly. Let's move on. It is National Curl Crush Day. Celebrate by loving and showing your natural, gorgeous curls. So if you've got them, flaunt them. You know, we have lots of hair care products, you know, for people who don't have curls to get curly hair. And then, of course, hair care products for people with curly hair to make it straight. So whichever way you're going, enjoy. But it is Curl Crush Day, so do that. It's also National Panda Day. Of course, pandas are bears. That sounds like something Kamala Harris would say. Pandas are bears, and bears are wild, and bears live in the forest. Oh, I'm not going on. Okay.
Especially those big white ones up in Alaska.
Yes. Also, National Panda Day. Their black and white coloring was designed by God. And it fits their natural habitat because they disappear into the snowy mountains and temperate forests of southwest China. And they are very endangered. A lot of conservation efforts going right now to keep the panda populations going. But I don't know how we celebrate Panda Day. Go to Panda Express.
Yeah.
Have something to eat.
Yeah.
There you go. Oh, what a name. I wonder
have you been into one lately?
I haven't, no.
Okay, well, you know, you got to be in the mood to go in there.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's good. But there was a sign in there for about 2 months on how much their people make.
No way.
Yeah.
What?
It said join our team, and then it listed from the general manager down to a server.
Really?
And I'm looking at these and I'm going, why in the world would you post that?
Yeah, I'm curious of why they would too. Yeah. What's up? What's the point?
Well, the rates were like over the top.
Okay, that's the point. They're trying to get good people in.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I thought, okay, well then, are these franchises?
Wait a minute. Did they have all the employees and then they had entry level? This is you.
It just I'm looking at this and I go, man, those are big numbers.
Oh, really?
And then that sign's gone now.
No, is the store still open?
Yeah.
Okay.
The store's still there.
All right. And one thing to eat. You like artichoke hearts? Oh,
yeah.
Check this out. There's a guy in the field that can get to an artichoke heart faster than anybody you ever saw before. And according to the California Artichoke Advisory Board, they're good for antioxidants, vitamin C, folate, magnesium. The antioxidants in artichokes are very good for your liver and help promote healthy skin. Artichokes are also high in fiber, calcium, and protein while low in calories. And for these reasons, plus being fat-free and cholesterol-free, makes artichokes a healthy and delicious food to celebrate. And did you know, did you know that California is the artichoke capital of the world?
Which one?
California.
Yes.
The artichoke, they supply nearly 100% of North American fresh artichokes come out of California.
Yeah.
How about that?
You get down around Watsonville and all down through there.
Okay.
It's kind of like not quite all the way to the coast. Some of it does go all the way out to the coast, out towards like down around Monterey and that area, and just rolling hills of artichokes.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned artichokes in the salad. That's good. How about on your pizza?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Absolutely.
In fact, is it Papa Murphy's where you can get a chicken artichoke heart?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think it is Papa Murphy.
And then bacon on it, too.
Oh, now you did it.
Chicken, bacon, artichoke heart.
Now you did it.
Cheesy thing.
Okay, a little cheesy thing. Well, enjoy it because it is National Artichoke Hearts Day.
Okay.
Now, do you waste time with the leaves trying to get all the stuff to get to the heart? You know.
I like eating artichoke. You know.
Yeah, it's fun.
Dip them in a little butter or dip them in a little mayo.
Mayo, yep.
You know, and you kind of pull on them a little bit.
Yeah. Brought to you by your Cardiologist Association.
Yeah. Now, some people take an artichoke and they'll cut it in half and bake it. Have you seen that one?
Oh, I have not. No.
Yeah, I've seen that. So, hey,
right.
I want to say to Diana.
Bend. Yeah.
Now, there's a name for these cards, and I forget.
I know, and they're beautiful. And thank you for your wishes, especially upcoming wishes. Yeah.
She sent us a spring card, and this work. I'll think of the name of it. I don't. Diana, do you do this, or does she get?
No, I think she buys these. I think. I don't know. But they're fabulous. Yeah, this is at another level.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Just gorgeous. Thank you for thinking of us, boy. So we're going to put that right there because
I wish I had penmanship like Diana.
Yeah. Why aren't you talented like that?
I'm not. I don't know. God give me that. That's
obvious.
Yeah. Thanks. Well, some things are.
Slam bang.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
All right.
But he is talented when he does the weather. Here's Mr. Talent. Here's Mr. WX Talent. Right here.
Here's a look at our forecast from Grange Co-op. Today in northern Oregon and southern Washington, a slight chance of rain before 9 a.m., then clearing to partly sunny with daytime highs in the mid-60s for Vancouver, Portland, Wilsonville, and McMinnville. Moving down the Willamette Valley with a slight chance of rain, then mostly sunny and near 68 in Salem. Mostly sunny skies for Albany, Corvallis, and Eugene with daytime highs in the upper 60s to low 70s. Starting mostly cloudy across central Oregon, then clearing to partly sunny and low 70s in Prineville and mid to upper 60s in Bend and Sun River. Over in Boise, Idaho, mostly sunny and mid 60s and a low near 40. Along the Oregon coast, sunny to mostly sunny skies from Coos Bay down through Port Orford, Brookings, and Crescent City, California. Daytime highs will range in the low to mid 60s with calm to moderate winds. In southern Oregon, mostly sunny skies this afternoon for the Rogue Valley and Klamath Basin, with daytime high temperatures in the mid-70s for Grants Pass, Medford, Ashland, and Klamath Falls. Into Northern California, partly sunny in Wairika with a high near 75. Sunny from Redding with temperatures moving into the low 90s through Chico and Sacramento with daytime highs in the mid-80s and a light wind. Sunny and warm today across the Bay Area with daytime high temperatures in the mid to upper 80s from Santa Rosa and Napa through San Francisco and San Jose with a slight west-northwest wind. There's a snapshot of your Monday forecast from Grange Co-op.
Beautiful shot of our valley this morning. And it's going to be a warm day. You can almost see a little bit of a stagnant air laying over the top of it. So be careful out there.
Okay, I have a rhetorical question. Are you submitted to the Word of God? Well, here's Dr. Tony Evans with some encouragement.
Moses was the meekest man on all the earth after he marries a woman of African descent that his brother and sister don't like. So he's got a race issue, he got a family issue, he got a sibling issue, he got all these issues, and he is the meekest man on the earth. Because the next verse says, now God came down and said to Miriam and Aaron, y'all got to be crazy. Y'all done lost your mind. And to let you know how I feel about what you just did to your brother, Miriam, I'm going to turn you white. And from head to toe, the Bible says, she became white. We're gonna change your whole shade. He made her totally white until she repented, and then her natural skin tone came back. Now, what is the point? The point was, because Moses was submitted to God, look at what the verse says, blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Once they came out against Moses, because he was submitted to the will of God, God entered into the situation and became Moses' defense. See, the reason why we got to defend ourselves is because we're not meek. Because we're not submitted to the will of God, God doesn't feel obligated to intervene on earth in our earthly situation. He said, you take care of it then.
Man.
Well, there is probably a little bit we forgot about.
Yeah.
Wow. All right, Tony Evans this morning. Back to this card.
Okay.
Excuse me. This is called quilling.
Quilling. Oh.
But I have a funny feeling she did it.
Do you?
Yeah, because normally there would be an insignia on the back that would say something. So it's possible Diana did this, which is an art in itself. So I don't know how, but there's no like somebody else did it.
Right. Yeah, I don't see. There's no Hallmark stamp or anything like that.
No.
Right. Yeah.
So it could have a DW stamp.
Beautiful.
For Diana.
Yeah.
This is over the top, Alec. I'm with all of them she sent, but this is so springy in nature. So Peggy just told me it says quilling, and I said, okay, but there's no thing there. So
there's no mark. Right.
Thank you, Diana, again. All right, good stuff all the way around. All right, well, Moses had a problem there for a little bit.
Yes.
I gotta go look that one up. That
one really got me. Yes.
All right.
Okay.
All right, let's take a look at some of the top stories this morning. Good morning to you. And the biggest one is that the president is calling for a complete surrender, even though what's left of the Iran Guard, I don't even know who's in charge now. They don't know if the son of the Ayatollah is alive.
Right.
They do believe he's wounded, but there's no indication he's dead, and there's no indication that he's alive. So apparently somebody in the administration has reached out for a ceasefire, and the president said, no ceasefire, because all your conditions are crazy.
Yeah, okay.
And it looks like he's pretty much committed to complete this. We're far from declaring victory.
Okay.
But remember this, folks, we're only in this thing 17 days, and look what's been done.
Yeah.
Now, there is a little bit of a understanding there could be no troops on the ground.
Well, yeah,
I'm not sure
explain
how that
yourself.
works.
Yeah.
2,500 Marines may be sent in to take care of the shoreline.
Well, they're on the way, right?
Yeah, on the way of the straits there. So we'll see what happens there. But the president basically said, we're going to have to figure out how to clean up the strait so there's no threat there.
Well, this is going to be interesting with the boots on the ground, because that's one thing I think that most of the country here
does not want.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we'll see how this is going to play out. In the meantime, the Wall Street Journal announced, and the president did, that he is preparing to announce several countries have agreed to form a naval coalition to escort commercial vehicles through the Straits of Hormuz. They don't say what countries, but you said Japan said no to it.
Yep.
And yet they need it.
Oh, they need it bad. They get about 95% of their oil through there, yeah.
So that little peninsula sticking out there is a sore spot.
Yeah.
Now, I saw over the weekend where, I guess in times gone past, they've actually considered
digging a ditch.
Putting in a little bit more, why don't they just blow up the tip of that and widen the thing?
Yeah, that's a great point.
Kind of like they did the whale on the Oregon beach. They just blow it up.
Oh, you had to bring that up again.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yes. But,
By the way, we were up there the other last weekend or weekend before last, and we drove right past that point where it said the whale blow-up spot.
They have it marked?
Oh, yeah. It's kind of like a memorial to the blown-up whale.
Me. Oh, that's great.
Right there around Florence.
Oh, man.
But anyway, we'll see who is going to be willing to put together a coalition. Here's the question I have. Let's say they put together a significant coalition of nations with their navies to escort ships through there.
All right.
Do the owners of those ships still want to do it?
Oh, man.
I mean, what's the risk here?
And what's the status of the insurance companies on it? Because every one of those boats is insured.
Oh, for gazillion dollars.
Yeah.
So I would assume that they're going to have to really declare that strait is safe.
Oh, great, because I have a question. We're talking about, and we keep seeing these headlines in the news, we're not going to call a ceasefire yet. We're not going to call it over yet. We still have some things to do. Well, I would say so. How can they even consider declaring victory with the Strait of Hormuz effectively closed? Nothing's going through there.
No, you can't. So I think that they have to work on. I don't know what the answer is. We're not on the inside, but look, the one thing is for sure that most, if not all, of the military has been eliminated, air, sea, and everything else. But there's this rogue leftover loyalists, I should say, of the regime that have these missiles, and even that stockpile is wearing out. But
that's what we hear. Yeah.
But you don't know where they are.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
They could be in the back of somebody's car.
Yes, literally,
And so, anyway, we'll have to watch that. The other story is really interesting. Your good friend, Alan Dershowitz. Your buddy.
Yeah, my buddy. You guys are on first name basis, and he's my bro.
Yeah, he's bro, man. Anyway, Alan Dershowitz on the Sunday show, especially on Newsback yesterday, he said that Congress should fully investigate the circumstances surrounding Jeffrey Epstein's death.
Oh.
Now, this is a new twist. I just wish this salacious story, just put it all out there and let the chips fall, and whoever gets caught up in it, they get caught up in it.
Yes.
And they should be caught up in it.
Yes, all the way.
You're violating God with all this nonsense.
Yes.
But anyway, he thinks that Congress should investigate his death. I didn't know that he was up for bail 3 days before he supposedly committed suicide.
Yeah, that was news to me.
And Maxine doesn't think that...
yeah, she didn't think that he killed himself, right.
Anyway, here's what Jerry's good friend had to say.
Nobody knows sure how Epstein died. We know there were people out there who had motives to try to silence him. We also know that he thought he had a chance of getting out on bail 2 or 3 days after they found his body. And so he really wasn't motivated to kill himself. On the other hand, it's very hard to imagine anybody getting through the security of the Metropolitan Detention Center, which I have visited numerous times to see clients. It's very, very hard to get through there. So if he was killed, it would have to have been an inside job, and it has to be investigated. Otherwise, this is going to go down in history as one of those other unsolved mysteries, along with the Kennedy assassination and many others. And it's time to put it to rest. The public has the right to know everything about the Epstein case. Right from the beginning, I've urged complete and total disclosure of everything. It's easy for me because I did nothing wrong. There are other people who perhaps did do things wrong, and they do have things to hide, but the public has the right to see everything and to see it now.
Well, they do. They may have to investigate this.
Yeah.
I can't. To his point, there was no reason for him to commit suicide if he was up for parole in 3 weeks.
Well, Ghislaine, you mentioned Ghislaine Maxwell, and she has been trying to cut a deal. She wants to talk.
She wants full immunity.
She wants out of jail.
Yeah.
Right. Now, I can't help but think that if Epstein was alive, they'd give it to her. Because we see that all the time, where an underling has a lot of the information, they grant them immunity so they can get the big fish. Well, the big fish is gone now, so she's the biggest fish. So they're not going to let her, they're not going to let her go for her testimony. But wouldn't it be interesting to unlock that testimony, to hear what she really knows?
Did she declare the 5th?
Yes. Uh-huh.
I don't know. It's past my pay grade.
Well, mine too. But I can't help but think that obviously she was the closest to Epstein. She knows a lot. And of course, we saw the disdain of ex-President Bill Clinton in his congressional testimony. I mean, he was just absolutely defiant against them. Yet, he's the only one that's actually pictured in a hot tub with one of the victims, getting a back rub from one of the victims, matching silk shirts with his buddy Jeff Epstein, and we know that he was on the plane many times. So there are a lot of facts that have yet to come out, but I don't think we're going to hear it from her.
I'm going to say something that's very controversial.
Let's go.
I think the Republicans made a huge mistake doing this. Because it's not going to go anywhere, and they just got rolled over by the Clintons.
They did.
Okay?
Yep.
And they're going to get rolled over by anybody else.
Yep.
The only thing they can do is shut this committee down and demand, even if they have to get a judge involved, that everything, tell Pam Bondi and the crew and Kash Patel, you're going to have to unredact everything and throw it out there and let the chips fall where they may. But the more you dig, the more salacious you make it, and the more you're entrapping yourself.
Right, and all they're really doing
is a mistake, in my opinion.
They're giving Dee's a smokescreen, cover on this thing. So
yeah, they're creating a story for everybody to hide behind.
Exactly.
And so I would say that they're barking up the wrong tree. It goes back to something very simple. We do a great job of investigating. We do a lousy job of convicting.
Yeah, what's up with that?
There's nothing going to come of this.
Right.
The only thing you can do is put it out there and let public opinion take care of it.
Yeah.
And believe me, it will take care of it.
I think so, yeah.
I don't know. Well, anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's my 2 cents.
All right.
And Jerry's email number is
it's okay.
iloveartichoke.com. We'll be right back.
Your love, that's all I have to give. Your love is enough to light up the darkness. It's your love, all I ever needed is your love.
Since 1934, Grange Co-op has been more than just a store. We've been a cornerstone of our community, owned by people like you. We proudly offer top-quality farm and ranch supplies, including our own Rogue feed, as well as workwear, Western apparel, garden essentials, and pet care products. By signing up as a Grange Rewards customer, you not only enjoy exclusive benefits like special offers and 1% back on most purchases, but you also become part of something bigger, a cooperative that you own and help shape. Join Grange Rewards today.
When technology slows you down, your business and your life feels it. That's where Rogue Tech Pros comes in. We provide business technology services, managed IT services, and custom phone systems for businesses and homes. Our award-winning team takes time to understand your unique needs and builds a customized plan to keep your systems running smoothly so you can focus on growing your business while we handle the IT headaches. Find us at roguetechpros.com. roguetechpros.com. We keep IT simple.
Finding that next great series to binge watch is fun, but your neck, shoulders, and body don't count that as me time. Hi, I'm Tamara Miller, owner of Organic Element Spa, and I invite you to put down the remote, get off the couch, and schedule yourself some real me or we time with your favorite service, like one of our many massages, couples massages, or facials. Your health, safety, and comfort are always top priority with us at Organic Element Spa. We can't wait to see you. Book your appointment today.
The threat of wildfire poses a growing risk to Oregonians. You can prepare now by taking 3 important steps. Create a home inventory, make copies of important financial records, and contact your insurance company to make sure you have the right amounts and types of home insurance coverage. Be wildfire ready by being insurance ready. Visit dfr.oregon.gov/prepare now to learn how.
25 minutes past the hour on a Monday morning, and warming up the week. We're actually going to have a spring week 4 days before spring.
Yeah.
Spring officially arrives on Friday. All right, good morning to you. Well, an interesting story coming out of the state of Oregon. As you know, our universities have been really struggling across the state. In our own backyard, hats off to, I would say, President Bailey, the way he's handling the problems here at the Southern Oregon University. He kind of inherited a problem, and he's doing his best to move the budget around and doing a good job. But OSU, Oregon State University, leaders warned the trustees that the university would be forced to make cuts to the muscle and the bone if they did not support more than a 5% tuition increase for new and returning undergraduate students. I'm going, oh my stars. Okay, so let's just punish the customer. And that's kind of what they're doing here.
Yeah.
So the vote came down 12-2 to approve a 5.75% increase for returning undergrads and 6.25 for incoming students.
What?
I mean, I shake my head at this. Yeah. I'm going, you guys can't you cut a program? Can't you reduce your personnel?
Yeah.
You know, and you're going to punish your customers, so to speak?
Right, yes.
Well, guess what? I'll guarantee you enrollment will go down.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yep.
You know, and that's really sad. It's a great school. Mm-hmm. But apparently it was a contentious hearing, but they voted 12-2 to do this. I really think it's time for Board of Regents and everybody else to take a fresh course in economics, because there isn't one of you that run your business the way you're running these schools.
Well, you know, they could have a joint session with the Department of Transportation. They can all get into Economics 101 and figure out how to do their budgets.
You know, there isn't a one of us in business. When you're faced with something like this, you make cuts.
Right.
But what do? They go to the well and ask for more water.
Oh, yes.
You know, and parents, you're going to sit there. And, you know, how can an incoming student be charged more than a student that's already there? How do you justify this?
I don't know how they do that. Yeah, I don't get it.
So this is really remarkable. I don't know what the outcome is. All right, let's take a look at Wall Street for a Monday morning. Excuse me. Thank you, Preston. Smart lawn. Guess what? I didn't have to mow it yesterday. Look at this. The Dow's way up.
Oh, wow.
We'll call it 550 points up.
What's going on?
The Nas is up 289 and the S&P up 82. Well, they like the fact that the war, I think, is on the verge of coming to.
Okay, I think you probably are right. Yeah.
That did push gold down a little bit. It's down at $5,030 an ounce. Silver's at 81.47, and crude oil down. Where was it? Mm-hmm. It's at $96.64 a barrel. That's the barometer oil. We'll see what happens.
Okay.
If they can get the strait opened up, I think we'll see that start to take a.
Well, quantum technology, it is all the rage. We're trying to figure out what it is.
Quantum technology.
Quantum technology, quantum computers.
That's what goes on in your head when you're dreaming.
That's it. Well,
Pam told me you're making all these grounding signs. Right. And, you know, you got lights going off, your eyes twinkle, and all this stuff. Your head's a quantum computer.
As long as I'm breathing, okay. But IONQ CEO Nicolo De Massa, he spoke with Fox Business's Claman Countdown to detail how his company's cutting-edge quantum technology is at the forefront of national security, military defense, and global cybersecurity.
Well, we believe we're going to make advances possible in this administration that will ultimately change the world and certainly change the battlefield. You know, quantum computing through INQ is coming faster than everyone thought before, and that's because we're the best capitalized company in history, and we're very focused on bringing manufacturing for the whole quantum ecosystem firmly and centrally to INQ and to the U.S. So we make our machines entirely with the U.S. supply chain. We announced an acquisition of a business called SkyWater just about 6 weeks ago. SkyWater is actually supporting the whole U.S. quantum industry. And so we're proud of the fact that we are the leading merchant supplier to the entire quantum industry. It's our atomic clocks, our quantum chips, quantum networking equipment, all of this is being supplied, not just the DOW, but of course to all of our partners. And so we're really here to focus on accelerating U.S. quantum leadership. This is a race against our adversaries. It's not just a race against smaller adversaries like Iran that honestly don't have a quantum posture, but there's bigger ones like China that obviously recognize that after AI, quantum is the next big technological wave. And so the U.S. succeeding in that is all about, we believe, IonQ supporting the industry, IonQ capitalizing quantum foundries, the merchant supplier business, and of course, making sure that we lead in computing, networking, sensing, and quantum cybersecurity. This is the battlefield of the future right here.
Wow. Wow.
Well, it's big stuff. I mean, we make fun of it, but it's the big game.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. Well, if it's being done here, good.
Yeah. Yes.
And that's the point.
Yeah. And quantum, it is the word of the day, and I knew it. Do you know it's a big line of fishing reels, fishing equipment, lines, spinning reels, all combos, all the rods.
Yeah.
They have a store. Yeah. Oh, but this is a great website. Yeah, it's all quantum. Quantum fishing.
So, what is meant by when you make a quantum leap?
That's a great question.
You've heard that expression?
Oh, yeah, we've all heard that. What is a quantum leap?
What is a quantum leap?
Oh, boy.
Is it a measurement?
That's a great question. I don't know. We're going to look it up.
I need a quantum nap. How about that? You want a quantum nap?
Yeah, I can do that.
All right, we're going to go artichoke heart hunting. We'll be right back.
The 71.5 Golf Challenge arrives Saturday, May 16th with a 4-person scramble, morning and afternoon shotguns, and a 6:30 award social. Register your team by April 1st for an early bird special. Score the team player pack for just $20 instead of $100 with the code EARLYBIRDIE. Become a sponsor and help kids across Southern Oregon. Visit 715.org or call 541-779-3275. At the 71.5 Golf Challenge, your drive saves lives.
Applegate River Golf and RV Resort, a pristine 9-hole course alongside the Applegate River. Their clubhouse offers a golf simulator experience. The RV Resort is adjacent to the golf course with convenient pull-through parking. Applegate River Golf and RV Resort. Information at applegaterv.com.
Answers with Bayless Conley on the Dove TV.
The root of sin was so deep, and the distance between God and man was so great that nothing short of the blood of God's own Son could remedy the situation.
Pastor and author Bayless Conley is known for his clear presentation of the gospel and the way he applies it to life's changing truths.
We were the sheep that went astray, but he was the lamb that was slaughtered. He suffered for us in our place.
He shares answers he's found years ago when trying to find fulfillment in his own life. After chasing everything imaginable, he discovered true lasting hope exists only in a relationship with Jesus.
I'm going to share a secret with you that if you'll listen and if you'll apply it, it will change your life.
Get answers to life's biggest questions with Bayless Conley, Tuesday, Saturday, and Sunday on the Dove TV.
At Sweet Tea Express, we've got you covered. Order at the counter and our friendly service staff will do the rest. Burgers, salads, sandwiches, barbecue platters, sides, and more. Smoked, grilled, and served to perfection. Sweet Tea Express, breakfast, burgers, and barbecue.
Welcome back. 1:30 on a beautiful Monday morning, and spring is in the air. The official first day of spring is Friday, but we're just gonna usher it in with some beautiful weather.
We're gonna kick it off early. Yep.
All right. Well, there's a lot going on in the Middle East, and what about the latest in Israel itself? Our good friend Chris Mitchell has the latest update.
I think the biggest news, Chris, that everybody's talking about is the 2,500 Marines that are headed to the Middle East right now. The conflict is limited to the Strait of Hormuz. This is not boots on the ground, even though it's boots on the ground. Well, and I wanted to get your hot take on that first. They're saying, the administration is saying it's not boots on the ground, but they're deploying 2,500 Marines to protect this oil infrastructure, the Iranian oil infrastructure. Wouldn't that be categorized as boots on the ground?
Well, yeah, it would be. If there's not already boots on the ground, special ops already on the ground.
That's fair.
They would be there. Presumably, if they're going to take over this island, which about 90% of the crude oil that comes out of Iran goes through Karg Island.
That's right.
That considers about 2% of the world's total oil supply. Now, what they did Friday night is that they hit all the military installations on the island, none of the oil facilities, and just sending a signal. So if they go in with the boots on the ground, take over the island, that really is a stranglehold on Iran by choking off their ability to send their crude oil and feed their economy.
Well, as the viewers just saw some of that B-roll, they've got amphibious vehicles, they've got all kinds of toys they're going to use. They're coming in on the USS Tripoli, which was out in the over by Japan.
Right,
so the reports are saying that they're still at least a week away from their arrival. Another thing I wanted to touch on, Chris, which is pretty wild, there's a bunch of fake news about Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Is he alive or has he been assassinated? Chris, I'll turn that one back over to you as well.
Well, we talked to his foreign policy advisor. We'll have him later on this YouTube Live, and pretty sure that he's still alive. Yeah.
There's also an interesting report that came out today that can also be considered fake news, which is that the Israeli military is running out of interceptors. And Chris had a great interview, which we'll also see later today, that also claims that that is also fake news. The Israelis are well stocked, as is the U.S. military. And the last thing, of course, is here in Israel, the latest from last night until today. Every 90 minutes, Iran has launched a missile. So from midnight until today, around noon our time, every 90 minutes, we've been seeing a missile come in from Iran, and of course, continued missile fire from Hezbollah in the north. So there's been a lot of activity, and it's interesting because we had hoped that it would slow down by now, Chris, but it seems that there's just a consistent flow of missiles in spite of all of the efforts, all the positive momentum that's happened in the war so far.
And one thing they're doing in the Operation Roaring Lion, as opposed to Operation Rising Lion, which was last June, is that they're not firing at any military targets. It's all civilian targets, all from north to south.
Well,
yeah.
That's the update from Jerusalem.
Yeah. Well, joining us live right now from Yerevan, Armenia, is CBN Senior International Correspondent George Thomas. George, great to be with you. Tell us what's the latest there in Armenia.
Yeah, you know, of all the countries that surround Iran in this 2 weeks since Operation Epic Fury began and Operation Roaring Lion began, the one country that has escaped any kind of wrath from the Iranian regime has been the country that I am in today, Armenia. All the surrounding countries, from Azerbaijan to Iraq to the Gulf countries, have all in some way, either by drone or ballistic missile, have been impacted. Armenia is the only country that has not been touched so far. And talking to my sources in the Armenian government, a part of that is because of a long-standing relationship that Armenia has had with Iran over the years. And in recent, I would say recent months, they have a new relationship. I mean, it's been there before, but they're strengthening the relationship with the United States. Vice President J.D. Vance made a historic visit to Armenia, the first highest ranking U.S. official to come to this country, and they signed a number of military cooperation deals as well as land border issues. It was a major deal, and you know, there's a burgeoning relationship that Armenia would like to have with the United States. But at the same time, the folks that I've been talking to inside the government, they are very, very concerned. Even though they've not been hit, guys, they're very concerned as to where this is going, what the end goal, what mission accomplished looks like, and how long it will take to get to that point, if at all. For example, regime change is in the calculus, if that is the mission, the final mission at the end of the day. But in the meantime, they're very, very concerned because, you know, they live in a region that is fraught over the years, for the last 20, 30 years, fraught with all kinds of upheaval. You just have to look at Iraq, what they've endured over the last 25 years. Then you go on the other side of the Iranian border, you have Afghanistan, you have the turmoil there. And then obviously with ISIS and Al-Qaeda mushrooming in the region, they know what happens when the United States gets involved militarily in the neighboring countries. So they are watching, keeping a very, very close eye. I was there at the Iranian-Armenian border a couple of days ago. Not a lot of foot traffic coming across the border, a lot of trucks, vehicular traffic, goods going back and forth. But so far, not so much, not really to report on sort of a mass migration outside of the country yet.
Well, I think we look at it from American position mostly because that's what's in the news.
Yeah.
We forget that Israel's been dealing with this for years, since 1948, really, and then most recently since October 7th, and they still have these proxies they have to deal with, but they're determined.
Yeah.
They are determined.
Yeah.
And so you got to kind of hats off to them doing such a wonderful job. All right, let's check out a guy that's determined to find an artichoke heart in this place this morning.
Here's a look at our forecast from Grange Co-op. Today in northern Oregon and southern Washington, a slight chance of rain before 9 a.m., then clearing to partly sunny with daytime highs in the mid-60s for Vancouver, Portland, Wilsonville, and McMinnville. Moving down the Willamette Valley with a slight chance of rain, then mostly sunny and near 68 in Salem. Mostly sunny skies for Albany, Corvallis, and Eugene with daytime highs in the upper 60s to low 70s. Starting mostly cloudy across central Oregon, then clearing to partly sunny and low 70s in Prineville and mid to upper 60s in Bend and Sun River. Over in Boise, Idaho, mostly sunny and mid 60s and a low near 40. Along the Oregon coast, sunny to mostly sunny skies from Coos Bay down through Port Orford, Brookings, and Crescent City, California. Daytime highs will range in the low to mid 60s with calm to moderate winds. In southern Oregon, mostly sunny skies this afternoon for the Rogue Valley and Klamath Basin with daytime high temperatures in the mid-70s for Grants Pass, Medford, Ashland, and Klamath Falls. Into northern California, partly sunny in Wairika with a high near 75. Sunny from Redding with temperatures moving into the low 90s through Chico and Sacramento with daytime highs in the mid-80s and a light wind. Sunny and warm today across the Bay Area with daytime high temperatures in the mid to upper 80s from Santa Rosa and Napa through San Francisco and San Jose with a slight west-northwest wind. There's a snapshot of your Monday forecast from Grange Co-op.
Beautiful picture from the top of Mount Ashland. A little bit of pockets of snow here and there, but for the most part, I would imagine by this time next week that could be gone.
Yeah, and now the California resorts are following suit. It's like dominoes are all starting to close.
There you go.
Yeah, oh well. Well, a major step in U.S. military history took place on this day in history. On March 16, 1802, President Thomas Jefferson signed a congressional act creating the United States Military Academy at West Point overlooking the Hudson River in New York. The Academy officially opened its doors a few months later on July 4, 1802, training a small group of cadets. West Point quickly became one of the nation's most important schools for engineering and military leadership, and today it's the oldest U.S. military service academy and the longest continuously occupied Army post in the country. Its graduates have shaped American history, among them Civil War General and future President Ulysses S. Grant, World War II Supreme Allied Commander and President Dwight D. Eisenhower, and legendary General Douglas MacArthur. But during the Civil War, many West Point classmates actually fought on opposite sides of the battlefield. Yet the Academy's guiding motto, Duty, Honor, Country, has continued to define generations of leaders for more than 2 centuries. Wow, the longest continuing run or occupied military base in the United States. When they opened that, it was prior to the Revolutionary War, and one of the reasons they picked that was because there's a crook in the Hudson River at that point, and they strung a chain across it to stop British boats from coming up the Hudson. Yeah. And they did it. It was effective. So very interesting.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Dr. David Jeremiah, one of the premier Bible teachers and pastors of our time and era, and he talks about the increasing favoritism of socialism. The question has to be asked, can you be a Christian and a socialist at the same time? Well, listen to this.
Socialist visions and policies are invading the United States. You'll hear it discussed under 4 different names. Some people call it socialism, communism, Marxism, and cultural Marxism. Socialism seems to hold some sort of hypnotic power over many thinkers. A 2020 poll showed that 40% of Americans had a favorable view of socialism. So, what is socialism? Well, socialists believe that the world's means of production, like infrastructure, farms, factories, energy, natural resources, medicines, and more, should be under the control of, quote unquote, the people. In other words, society as a whole should own all the raw materials and the systems that produce wealth. In a free market system, these materials are controlled by companies or individuals, but in socialist countries, they are owned by the people. Of course, there's no way to make decisions based on such a loose concept as the people. So under socialism, the government becomes the sole authority and controller and the means of production. Unfortunately, governments are controlled by specific people, often the kinds of people who seek out power. And those people are entirely corruptible by greed and selfishness and the overwhelming desire for power. As more power flows to the government, the handful at the top become dictatorial. To understand socialism as it is in our culture today, we must first understand the originator of socialism as we know it. He was a man by the name of Karl Marx. If you study the life of Karl Marx, you'll learn that he wasn't just a hater of God, he was a cheerleader for the devil. His family thought him possessed by a demon. A biographer described him like this: he had the devil's view of the world and the devil's malignity. Sometimes he seemed to know that he was accomplishing the works of evil. Karl Marx died in despair on March 14, 1883. Just before his death, he wrote to his friend Engels, "How pointless and empty is life," he said, "and yet how desirable." He was buried in the Highgate Cemetery, considered the center of Satanism in London. Today, Karl Marx is ruling the world from his grave. And here are some of the characteristics of his ideology. Number 1, Marxism is anti-God. Karl Marx hated Christianity, which he saw as a source of oppression. To him, religion was the opium of the people. For communism to succeed, loyalty to the church had to be replaced by loyalty to the state. On one occasion, he described the church as medieval mildew that had to be scraped away.
Whoa.
That's pretty bad.
That is pretty bad. I'm really happy to hear him address this subject. Now, are there some pastors and some churches who would totally avoid this under the premise that we don't get into politics?
Well, that is one of the big fake news or fake interpretation of Scripture, if I can say that respectfully. Okay. We're to be socially relevant, but I will say one thing about Dr. David Jeremiah. Look, he said what it is, and you have to decide which way you're going to go. If you're going to have one foot in the boat and one foot on the dock, and the boat's leaving the dock, you're forced to jump. And so I don't know.
That's pretty good. I like that.
Well, do you know what you believe? Do you know why you believe it? And can you gracefully defend it?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
No wonder we're at 4% biblical worldview in the United States.
That's shocking.
Because everybody wants something free. Everybody wants something easy. And by the way, if you haven't noticed, if you're a Christian, serving God is hard.
Yeah.
It's difficult, and it will cost you something. There's a fellowship in suffering. Now, figure that one out.
Yeah.
What is fellowship in suffering?
Now you're going to invite somebody to church after telling them that. Yes.
Come to church and have a bad day. No, that's not what it means.
No, it's not what it means. You're right.
If you are pressing in with your life in Christ, you are going to be rocked.
It's true.
And shaken.
It is true.
And Jesus called it a fellowship. It's a certain understanding that you take it on because you believe in what you believe.
Yeah.
And Christ suffered and died for you. You can take a little heat yourself.
Yeah, because you're not in it alone.
Socialism baits you and then drowns you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Wow. I like
much for that.
Yeah.
We better get out of here.
Artichoke hearts. We got them.
We'll be right back. All God's children of love and light, every heart will be unified, singing praise to the Lord our King on the day.
You are invited to the 2026 Access Senior Fair, Tuesday, March 24th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Rogue X. Over 80 vendor booths offering helpful resources for seniors and their families. Try your luck at a round of bingo complete with prizes. All are welcome at the largest free and fun senior resource fair in Southern Oregon. We'll see you Tuesday, March 24th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at Rogue X.
Combining your home and auto insurance could save you time and money. And who doesn't like that? Want surprisingly great rates on auto, home, and life? Now's the time to call State Farm agent Rory Wold in Medford.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hi, I'm the SOS Alarm Guy, here to tell you about a great deal. SOS Alarm will not only beat any internet deal, but will install the system too. So burglars, beware. SOS Alarm for security and beyond.
From the heart of our nation's capital, here's Family Research Council President Tony Perkins.
The House committee uncovered through the whistleblower that the FBI abused its counterterrorism tools to target Catholic Americans. Do we need to reevaluate what tools they have legal access to?
Yes, absolutely we do.
Washington Watch, 6 o'clock weekdays on the Dove TV.
Hi, good morning to you. I had Dr. Adam Rasmussen on. He's with the Arizona Christian University. He's there in the apologetics department. And shares that our groups who are taking their Bible worldview seriously and sharing the gospel, even though the biblical worldview went from 8% to 4%. The 4% seem to be pretty determined to share. If we believe we're in the last days,
Right.
it will produce one of two things.
What?
You're either going to hold on and wait for it to happen and do nothing.
Okay.
Or you're going to be seriously motivated about sharing your faith and become the disciple that God intended you to be.
All right.
And here's what he had to say about it.
I've shared with you before about a group called the Sage Cons, and these are spiritually active, governance engaged conservatives. Okay, not all biblical worldview folks are conservatives, but generally speaking, that is the way it works. And 44% of those Sage Cons have a biblical worldview. So they are 10 times more likely to have a biblical worldview than the rest of the nation. And what we're seeing here is that these individuals are very involved in trying to change culture with the Bible. For example, in the last two presidential elections, 99% of them voted, as opposed to around 60% of the rest of the population, including 60% of those who call themselves Christians. So the Sage Cons has a real strong density of people that are committed to being all in for Jesus. That's an exciting spot. Also, I think if I can be so bold as to share some of the research we've done with our students at Arizona Christian University, this is just out. And you can see it on this report, but what we try to do is have whole life discipleship at Arizona Christian University. And I know that there are many places in our country that do that. And so we see that in home educating families, in private K-12 schools and cooperatives, certain church environments, and certain universities. So what we've done is we've partnered with George Barna And starting 5 years ago, we did this same survey with our students. Now, there are a few changes to it on some things that we're trying to establish on our campus. But basically, every student, it's not a sample, it's a census. Every student, every year takes this, and we're able to watch how they grow. So we have a 5-year longitudinal study. And my brother, I got to tell you, it's really exciting because young people usually go to university so that their worldview will die.
Yeah.
But at Arizona Christian University, it's exploding. So what we've seen is in this 5-year study, they've grown 833% in their worldview.
Wow.
And by the time they graduate, they are 28 times more likely than people in their age bracket, 21 to 24, have a biblical worldview.
Gosh.
So things are working here. And I'm assuming that they're working in other places too. They may not be measuring it to the degree we are, and we're here to help. We can help those universities. We can help churches and schools. We have ways to do that now. But isn't that exciting that we can see people growing in their biblical worldview?
Do you think that could result?
That's very exciting.
Yeah, it is. They're doing a great job down there, and the reports and the statistics are really phenomenal.
Man.
Yeah, good stuff. Well, take with you today is first. This is a good one for a Monday. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 24. Faithful is he who calls you. So are you called by God? And he also will bring it to pass. So he called you to do something. He'll finish the job through you. Take that with you today. Beautiful shot of our backyard. Enjoy warmer temperatures today.
Applegate River Golf and RV Resort, a pristine 9-hole course alongside the Applegate River. Their clubhouse offers a golf simulator experience. The RV Resort is adjacent to the golf course with convenient pull-through parking. Applegate River Golf and RV Resort. Information at applegaterv.com.
Monday. Angels
At the foot of the bed was this 8-foot luminous angel.
and demons.
All of a sudden, we hear this guttural-sounding voice come out of her back.
First-hand accounts of the spiritual battle all around us.
On the last beat of my heart, my spirit left my body.
Investigating the supernatural.
That's when I began to realize there's a connection between demons and the UFO phenomenon.
Monday on the 700 Club, right here on the Dove TV.
Stewardship begins with the knowledge that nothing belongs to us, but everything belongs to the Lord. This helps us to run a business not in the fear of lack, but in the assurance of His care and provision. Such a perspective eliminates the drive to sell and replaces it with a heart that says serve. This begins with serving our clients and coworkers with integrity and genuine care. That's why McKelly's is automotive service with a heart for God and treating others as we ourselves would want to be treated. Our promise is to never sell our clients anything we don't believe they need. Another is to do all we can to meet other needs, such as shuttle service and loaner cars, or taking the time to really listen, even at times praying with our customers. Sometimes this means sacrifice, going above and beyond, but that's why I work for Kelly's Automotive Service, honoring God while serving people with honesty and integrity.
Bold.
Without the resurrection, our faith would be meaningless and our hope misplaced.
Biblical.
They had seen the resurrected Christ.
Refreshingly practical.
So if we truly desire to become more like Jesus, doesn't it make sense that we would pattern our behavior after His?
Pathway to Victory with Pastor Robert Jeffers of the First Baptist Church in Dallas, Texas.
You see, more important to Paul than being free was being faithful. You don't have to wait until you die to enjoy friendship with God.
Pathway to Victory, transforming lives with God's Word one verse at a time.
Not just about Christ Jesus, but that I might know Him.
Learn, grow, and get on the Pathway to Victory.
Now is the time to know Jesus as your friend.
You can catch Pathway to Victory 7 times every weekend on the Dove TV. Encouraging and informative.
The Dove TV, encouraging and informative with Focus Today, weekdays. Well, welcome to Focus Today. I'm your host, Perry Atkinson, and I am delighted to have back with us today Eric Eggers. He's the Vice President of Research at the Government Accountability Institute. He's also the co-host of its podcast, The Drill Down. He's the author of Fraud, How the Left Plans to Steal the Next Election. He's also appeared frequently throughout a lot of media outlets analyzing election integrity, foreign policy, organized protest, and political corruption. There's a picture of the cover of his book there on the screen, which is available online. And he does have a website, g-a-i.org, g-a-i.org, and thedrilldown.com for the book, and also with the Peter Schweitzer podcast. So he's a busy guy. Eric, good to see you again. How are you, friend?
Perry, it always makes me smile to know that I'm going to get to come on your show and talk to you and your audience. Good morning.
You're the man. You're the man. A lot to go here. Boy, hey, let me just ask you this, just a 30,000-foot view of election integrity. Here in Oregon, we're pretty much a blue state, you well know, and our Secretary of State openly admitted that they identified 800,000 ballots went out to people that it shouldn't went out to, but we're not even sure if they even cleaned that up. What do you think this election cycle is heading into?
It's a good question, and I think it's one of the reasons why President Trump and legislative leaders are pushing so hard to pass the SAVE Act, because I do think we're starting to have a very real conversation about the importance of election integrity in this country. You know, Perry, it's crazy. My book came out in 2018. And back then, the word fraud was literally like a 4-letter word you weren't supposed to say. And then 2020 came out, and we were told it was the most secure and accurate election, even though the problems you're having in Oregon happened all over the country. We sent ballots everywhere. You saw an insane, historic spike in the number of people who voted, even though one of the candidates for president never left their basement. And you have voter rolls with a number of problems, and they all got ballots, and we're all just told, no, I'm sure it was fine. So I do think things like requiring proof of citizenship when you actually register to vote, active maintenance for keeping those voter rolls safe. I know states like Oregon and Minnesota have secretaries of state and election officials who are actively fighting against the federal government to keep from doing that. But it's so important for examples exactly like what you just mentioned. It's too bad that Oregon, I think, is not inclined to take it seriously. But the reason why they're not, Perry, is because would the election official in Oregon say, oh, you know what? My bad. I guess we've been presiding over a flawed, inaccurate, and fraudulent system for these decades. We'll try better now. No, it's in their interest to pretend like it's never been a problem, which is why they keep the federal government from being able to look at the voter rolls in the first place.
How can a Republican be against the SAFE Act?
Perry, you should have a smarter guest than me on to figure that out, because I don't understand it for the life of me. Like, what I'm actively wondering and trying to work sources and try to figure this out. Why would there be, and it's not just one, it's a number of people in the Senate who, for whatever reason, represent constituencies that don't want this to happen. I don't know if it's because they don't want the political pushback from minority groups that claim it's not popular, but the reality is, the polling shows that I think it's like 90% of Republicans favor this, and even a majority of Democrats favor showing ID to vote. Of course, ironically, the legislative body that's stopping this from passing, the Congress, you have to show your legislative ID to cast ballots there. So I don't understand it. I wish it's one of the great scandals right now of 2026 because they're not being honest about it. I know John Thune has been said, look, we don't have the votes, and President Trump said, well, if you were a leader, you would find the votes. I think we should just have a very honest conversation about why people don't want to push this and what they're afraid of.
Even Senator Cornyn from Texas, that's a border state. I mean, you would think, but he flipped. After he made a statement, he flipped. I'm supposing it could cost him his reelection.
Yeah, that's an interesting dynamic because you got Ken Paxton, who's running that primary against John Cornyn. He even said, listen, fine, I'll back out. Donald Trump can endorse John Cornyn if John Cornyn promises to support this, and let's get a vote for this on the Senate floor. So clearly, I mean, maybe it's possible that Republicans actually think they benefit in some states from votes on behalf of people who aren't citizens. And that there's certainly, I mean, the reality is when you have the projections of the number of people casting ballots in this country who aren't citizens, and you saw Donald Trump had significant growth with Hispanic groups, as even the ambassador to Mexico likes to point out in response to Peter's latest book. But I don't think, given the Donald Trump's position on illegal immigration, that they would be pro-Trump voters. But maybe there are some less MAGA members of the Republican Senate that have softer positions on this, and that's one of the reasons why they're reluctant to shut off the spigot, so to speak.
Absolutely amazing. I had your partner, Peter Schweitzer, on several weeks ago. Always an honor to have both of you on when I get a chance to do that. He mentioned the term birth tourism. Now, I've heard of birth rights, but birth tour, what's this all about, Eric?
Well, so it's spring break where I live, Perry, in Florida, and actually I'll be taking my children to Disney on Wednesday. So I will be playing a tourist with children this week. That's the opposite of what birth tourism is. Birth tourism is somebody who's a tourist who comes here and then has a child. And then by doing so, their child then becomes an American citizen. And unfortunately, this is part of the law. It's in response to slavery, like the Dred Scott decision. So they created the 14th Amendment that said anybody that's born here becomes a citizen. And then they've had different kind of challenges to this legally. And Donald Trump had an executive order attempting to kind of walk back some of this. But basically, birth tourism is people taking advantage of that law. And so they'll come here with the plan to have a child, and they do so. And then oftentimes they go back, and no country has taken greater advantage of this than China.
Yeah.
China has certain estimates that anywhere from 100 to 150,000 people a year, Perry, come here to have a child. So if you do the math on that, what Peter is calling, we may have 1 million people in this Manchurian generation. And when he testified on these same figures in front of the United States Senate last week, Dick Durbin, the senator from Illinois, tried to press him not on the veracity of those statistics, but actually on, well, how many prosecutions has the Trump administration done to stop this? So they concede that it's a problem. They just like to pass the blame and say, well, no one else is taking it seriously either. So it's a massive scandal. It's a huge loophole. China has over 1,000 services that advertise their ability to do this for Chinese citizens, many of whom are part of the Chinese elites. But of course, as you and your viewers know, Perry, if you're a Chinese elite, that means you're tied to the CCP, which is actually one of the reasons cited in a Supreme Court decision and a dissent attempting to walk this back. They said anyone who's born here, who's also a Chinese national, cannot be an American citizen because they will forever have loyalties to the Chinese emperor. So, I mean, that's the dynamic that's at play, and you've got potentially 1 million people taking advantage of it who can start voting very soon.
All right, so to unpack this a little more, I understand that there are like companies in China that are advertising, get pregnant, come to the United States under a visa or whatever, have your baby now is a U.S. citizen, then take that baby back to China, raise them in this propaganda machine under the CCP, and then send them back at a voting age to vote? Or is that being too simplistic?
It's being too accurate. And I think it's being too on the nose about the very real threat that it's posed. You're exactly right. I couldn't have said it better myself. And so that's why we're raising the alarm bells on this, because there's that many people have already participated in this. And all we're trying to do is elevate the issue, which is one of the reasons why I know Eric Schmidt, the senator from Missouri, who invited Peter to testify in front of the Senate subcommittee last week, he's taking this issue very seriously. We raised a lot of issues in Peter's last book, Invisible Coup, which I know he enjoyed talking to you and your audience about recently. But this birth tourism thing, this loophole that Chinese citizens appear to be taking advantage of, seems to have caught the greatest amount of attention in Congress, which is a good thing. Oftentimes people try to ignore the reporting that we have in our books, but this has really, I think, taken people's notice. I know Donald Trump's aware of it. Peter met with Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, and Donald Trump himself about this. So it's on their radar.
So how do you correct it? Because if I look at it from the 30,000-foot view, it's legal, right?
Excuse me. So it's legal. There's two things you can do, Perry. Number one is Donald Trump's executive order. It would be to end the provision of birthright citizenship. Like if you are born here, you become a citizen. Well, you can change that. You can make different provisions to that and say, no, just because you're born here doesn't make you a citizen automatically. There have to be additional protocols or processes you have to go through. That's step one. Step two there already is a law on the books, which we have evidence and whistleblower testimony that the Obama administration instructed people to ignore. But if you are a Customs or Border Patrol agent and you see someone entering this country who appears visibly pregnant, and you believe that they are potentially entering this country for the purpose of just having a child who will then become a citizen, you have the right, the law gives them the right to pull them aside, ask additional questions, and potentially prevent entry to this country. Whistleblowers have testified that under Obama, they were told not to do that. We do believe that certain members of the Border Patrol and Customs agencies are doing that under Donald Trump, but it remains a mechanism, one of a couple, that people have to try to curb this problem.
The birthright citizenship comes from the 14th Amendment, and in the meantime, the Supreme Court is expected to rule on the president's order related to birthrights. You have a feel for that, Eric?
So I've heard people talk about this. I'm certainly no legal scholar, and I know recent issues about tariffs seem to deal a blow to the Trump administration's policies. But I heard some smart analysis, and Perry, I'm interested in your thoughts on this, is that maybe he'll have more support from the conservative justices, many of whom Donald Trump himself appointed to the court, as opposed to this tariff issue. Because where do most of the Supreme Court justices come from, especially the conservative ones? They come from typically the Federalist Society. And the Federalist Society is not necessarily in line with kind of the MAGA kind of political base. They oftentimes are supported by, Chamber of Commerce and businesses. And a lot of those businesses, quite honestly, Perry, didn't like the tariffs in the first place as a policy. So I thought that it was interesting to kind of connect those dots and why the Supreme Court wouldn't have been friendly on the tariff issue. On the Border Patrol issue and on the immigration issue, I think you might find some more support. At least that's, obviously there's laws about it and legal analysis, but I'm more optimistic, I guess, that he'll get more support than he did on the tariff issue.
So at the end of the day, this would have to be a law coming out of Congress in order for it to be solidified. I mean, if it's just a ruling for the Supreme Court, basically what you're asking the Supreme Court to do is to make a rule that birthrights wouldn't be under the 14th Amendment. Or am I misunderstanding something?
What you're asking the Supreme Court to do is to say Donald Trump's executive order was legal.
Oh.
Right? Donald Trump's executive order would have ended birthright citizenship in certain respects for certain populations. And actually, Perry, it's interesting. You mentioned my book, and we talked about the SAVE Act earlier. And in listening to the advocates of kind of keeping the status quo during Peter's testimony, I was struck by something, because when I was studying election integrity, you realize there's this tension between access and security. People want to argue against making elections more secure because they think it reduces and eliminates access, and they cite our country's dangerous and unfortunate history with slavery, Jim Crow, and kind of preventing minority groups from being able to vote. And that's a real thing. But they leverage and they hold the present day hostage because of stuff that happened over 100 years ago. And in many ways, the birthright citizen issue is the same thing. They're saying, well, slavery is the reason why you have to have the rule now that anybody that's born here becomes a citizen, even though slavery, as you're well aware, hasn't existed for over 170 years. So, I do think that that's the legal context, and I think it's fair to take modern day circumstances into deciding whether or not we want to allow laws of a long time ago to still hold a significant amount of sway. Eventually, the Supreme Court decided, you know what, the Civil Rights Act was put in place for a reason, but some of the conditions that was meant to address have been alleviated. So we don't have to be kind of held to some of those same conditions anymore. And it would be interesting to see if the Supreme Court makes a similar consideration here.
Fascinating. All right, let me take a quick break. Let me say to our viewers and listeners, you can still get Eric's book, Fraud. You may want to check that out. He does have a website, g-a-i.org, which is, the Government Accountability Institute. And the podcast, thedrilldown.com/Peter Schweitzer podcast. Check that out as well. We'll be right back.
Since 1934, Grange Co-op has been more than just a store. We've been a cornerstone of our community, owned by people like you. We proudly offer top-quality farm and ranch supplies, including our own Rogue feed, as well as workwear, Western apparel, garden essentials, and pet care products. By signing up as a Grange Rewards customer, you not only enjoy exclusive benefits like special offers and 1% back on most purchases, but you also become part of something bigger, a cooperative that you own and help shape. Join Grange Rewards today.
Buying or selling a home can be stressful. It's one of the biggest decisions you'll make in your lifetime. That's why it's important to work with someone you trust, someone who has the right experience and knowledge of the market.
Hi, we're Patrick and Paulina Lizer with Lizer Real Estate Group.
And whether you're looking to buy or sell a home, our mission is to take the stress out of the transaction and make it as seamless and rewarding as possible.
Contact us today. We look forward to working with you.
Washington Watch with Tony Perkins is your watchful eye on the nation's capital. Every weeknight, covering current events, issues of faith, family, and freedom from a conservative Christian perspective.
Washington Watch, thanks so much for joining us.
Bringing you up close to newsmakers, members of Congress, and prominent pro-family leaders from across the nation.
That's just the tip of the iceberg of the threats and the dangers that children are facing online.
Tony is the president of the Family Research Council, a former state legislature, ordained minister, police officer, and veteran of the Marine Corps.
Terrorism experts are sounding the alarm.
And welcome to the Washington Watch News Desk.
Washington Watch with Tony Perkins is your leading source for what's really happening in our nation's capital.
Well, this is a state issue. The federal government shouldn't be forcing these states.
Don't miss Washington Watch with Tony Perkins. Weeknights at 6, only on the Dove TV. Encouraging and informative.
Okay, welcome back. Always an honor to have with us Eric Eggers. He's the vice president of the research at the Government Accountability Institute. He's also the co-host of their podcast, The Drill Down. A couple of websites for you to check out, g-a-i.org, which is the Government Accountability Institute.org, and the podcast, thedrilldown.com/Peter Schweitzer podcast. He and Peter just do wonderful work all the way around. Again, Eric, thank you for your time. I want to go over to the funding of anti-ICE protests around the country. I know that you and your team, you have discovered more than $65 million has flowed into anti-ICE activism, primarily there in Minnesota. We all suspected this. And the old saying is, follow the money. Obviously, you did this. What'd you find?
Well, as you noted, we found $65 million in dark money funding hiding essentially in plain sight. And, the dark money, when you compound it with taxpayer funding that goes to many of these nonprofits in various forms, which acts as a force multiplier, it ends up being a cultural force that I think creates more unrest, havoc, and ultimately, I think makes the country less safe. We followed the money. We looked at 990s. We identified funding networks that are connected to George Soros and Roy Singham, who lives in China, that we've written about before in some of Peter's books. And together, they kind of support groups that have been linked to everything from de-arrest training, so teaching people how to resist arrest and literally how to push police officers off of someone they're attempting to apprehend, to waking people up in the middle of the night at hotels who might be working for ICE. They do trainings, which they brag about on their social media. So it's quite alarming. It's quite shocking. And the fact is that it's all money that goes to support these groups that are, I think, unfortunately fomenting the unrest and preventing law enforcement from doing their job.
What about NGOs? Are they part of the money laundering?
Well, absolutely. The NGOs are connected. That's where the taxpayer money comes from, right? So groups like Indivisible and the Sunrise Project are two that we highlight in our report specifically in Minneapolis that have been, as I said, leaked to something called training. It's called Eyes on ICE. And it's this kind of cluster of networks. And, as we like to say, if it's complicated and hard to follow, they probably set it up like that for a reason. But the reality is, and it's not just these groups either. It's interesting because when you had the protest happen in the Minneapolis church, we took a look at the lady who was connected to that. And at the time, Peter's book was coming out, and we talked about how many Mexican consulates exist in this country. You know, as I think Peter told you, China's got 6 Mexican consulates, or China's got 6 consulates, England's got 7, Mexico has like 57. And one of them is in Minneapolis, and they were hosting events where they were training people on how to resist ICE. And one of the ladies who was arrested in that church protest had been participating in events sponsored by the Mexican consulate. So you got Mexican consulates, you've got these NGOs, you've got law enforcement groups all coming together to train people how to be basically boots on the ground, a citizen army, if you like, fighting against their own law enforcement personnel.
How much are these people being paid?
The paid protesters is a great question. We see in the 990s how much money goes to these groups, but we've seen reports in terms of job listings on social media for $20 to $30 an hour. We're still kind of working to get some more granularity on that specifically. But the reality is, this is absolutely a paid protesting network. And ironically, Perry, I saw mentioned that the paid protesting networks are evidence of how organized Democrat groups are in comparison to Republicans as we head into the midterms this year. You got some kind of Republican infighting within podcasts and things. The Democrats appear to be clearly aligned, and the fact that you have these organized paid protest groups highlighting issues that they want to talk about is evidence of how they sort of seem to have their act together.
You mentioned training. They're actually training them what to do. Where's that going, and why haven't we snuck a camera in there?
Well, that's a great question, Perry. And I volunteer you to be the undercover journalist, with a little James Bond pen camera.
I'm not doing anything between midnight and 4. I'll be glad to go do that for you.
Hey, I'm Perry. Is this where we learned how to fight ICE agents? I'm just asking. I'm really just genuinely curious, So, but no, one of the groups actually talks about how they don't have their trainings captured on camera for exactly that reason. But what we do see is we see these groups put out like pictures, and other social media groups will put evidence of what the material looks like, which is why, and we have this in the report, which you can find at thedrilldown.com, literally a picture of the de-arrest training. So it's a picture of someone like holding their hand up and they're trying to push it back, and they tell you how to like push somebody, the law enforcement officer, away from the person who's attempting to be arrested. And it's horrifying. I mean, no one likes the idea of American citizens being killed, of course. But when you see that some of this training instructs citizens to put hands on law enforcement personnel, then I think it raises significant questions about who's actually responsible for some of the violence we've seen in these protest sites. Law enforcement operate under the presumption that when they give a lawful order, citizens are meant to comply. And if they don't comply, then law enforcement are allowed to see that as a hostile act, and they're going to respond accordingly. And you've got these protest groups training people to respond in a hostile way. And I don't know that the citizens who are participating in these trainings know what they're actually signing up for. Renee Good, the woman who was shot in Minneapolis, she participated in one of these trainings. Her wife has been a member of a group that also participates in these trainings. So it's a real thing, and I think it's something people weren't paying a lot of attention to, and we're glad to be able to kind of shed some more light on it.
How come we haven't seen the picture during the Clinton administration where they went in and got that little boy in the closet with an AK?
Elian Gonzalez, I remember that very well. That was Janet Reno was Attorney General, and that was a big deal at the time, right? Yeah. Why have we not seen pictures? The point is, if we saw pictures of that raid, how come we're not seeing pictures of the trainings they're conducting?
Okay, so has these organizations successfully demonized ICE?
That's a great question. I think if you're a member of that organization, then yes. Like, you probably sign up for that organization because you hold a less flattering view of ICE in the first place. And so it's always interesting, I'm interested in what you think the assessment of ICE is in Oregon. I was actually quite surprised when I saw professional basketball players, people with the Minnesota Timberwolves, come out and say, listen, you got to let ICE do their job, because it seems so counter to what we presume the sentiment to be. But it does show you that another side effect of these paid protest groups, Perry, is it's manufacturing an artificial level of discourse that I don't think is reflective of where the American people are. The American people voted for Donald Trump in the first place because they want to see the border secured. They want to see immigration law enforced. And so, unfortunately, that means that, ICE has a job to do. Now, think there's a debate to have about what it means to enforce immigration, who should be deported next. Should we just go after criminals or people who are here illegally? Like those are questions and conversations to have. But I don't believe that these anti-ICE groups are willing to differentiate. They just say ICE is bad. You should do everything you can to stop them from doing their job. And here's a list of how you should do it. But I do believe that you see people who typically you would think are going to be sympathetic to the anti-ICE protests say, listen, no, they're law enforcement. We support law enforcement. Let's let them do their job, which I think shows you where public sentiment truly is still.
A little FYI for you, Eric, and maybe even for Peter, but we just closed a short session in the state of Oregon with the legislature. We're in a short session for 35 days. They passed a bill that notifies schools, parents, and students if ICE is in the area.
Yeah, that's terrible. I mean, to me, because think about what that does, right? The undercurrent of that is ICE is a threat that you should be aware of.
Yes.
Akin to, like anything else that's I know in Florida, if the crime has been committed in the area, they put the school on lockdown and they have to send an email to the parents. I'm old enough to remember when having law enforcement presence in school was actually a good thing. In fact, in Florida, we pay for a sheriff's deputy to be in every school to help keep them safe. And it's part of fostering a positive relationship with law enforcement. Remember, after 2020, that was the whole point. We wanted law enforcement to connect with communities. And now these same groups, who, by the way, organized some of the anti-George Floyd protests, are now on the same thing where they're further creating tension between law enforcement and the community.
Two quick questions before we run out of time. What's your take on the changing of leadership at DHS?
I heard Rand Paul give an interview in which I think he's going to raise some serious questions about Mark Wayne Mullen. So I'm interested to see what those interviews look like today. Obviously, Kristi Noem has been removed from that position. And I think there's probably some reasons why. I think both from a tactical, operational standpoint and also political. Mm-hmm. And I'm interested to see how Mark Wayne Mullen does. I was surprised to hear Rand Paul, a Republican senator, raise questions about it, but stay tuned.
Okay. One last question. I briefly saw an article this morning, so I haven't qualified it yet, but I'm just curious to see if you saw it, that independents were surveyed in this country on the performance of Democrats, and they came in at a negative 55%.
So what does that tell you, Perry? What that tells you is if Republicans lose the midterms, which they may, it won't be because Democrats are more popular, but just the active conditions of American life have not gotten better to many Republicans or many American citizens, right? They voted for lower prices, and they voted for, I think, a level of domestic strength and tranquility. And so I think it does create some perverse incentive structures where it's odd now. You have Democrat-backed news outlets that want to report on American failure in the war in Iran. And they want to kind of help perpetuate this idea that, costs are up. Now, obviously, everyone knows what gas costs. I know in Oregon, you guys have long given up on the idea of affordable gas. But, with the rest of the country, we do want things to have some common sense policies. Yeah, I think we'll see what the costs are as we get into November. But I think that's going to be a big factor. But to your point, it won't be because Democrats are popular.
Well, just so you know, we're the second highest in the country. Well, this is really very remarkable. I just want to say, Eric, to you and your team, thanks for all you guys do. Let's stay connected. You're fascinating. I really hope you can take your information on ICE funding networks and get this to the surface and get people out there. To your other point, yes, the president needs to end the war, get the gas prices down. That could sway the midterm. Otherwise, could be in trouble.
I agree with your analysis, Perry. That's why they pay you the big bucks.
Good. I'll take you to lunch next time I see you. Okay. Thanks, Eric. Good to see you. Thanks, friend.
Thank you.
All right.
Come fall in love with Northridge Senior Living, where contemporary, sunlit interiors meet old world elegance. Walk through our lovely hallways and enjoy the fun staff-led activities. Forge lasting friendships with other residents and our exceptional caregivers. Dine in style. Gather near the fireplace under breathtaking chandeliers. Our reasonably priced apartments are spacious with private balconies. Northridge is Christian-owned and operated, pet-friendly, and only 2 blocks from Asante Rogue Regional Medical Center. On-site, in-home care is available. We also offer senior adult daycare, where your loved one can spend the day with us and the evenings with you. Northridge Senior Living. Your home.
If you don't drive it, donate it. By supporting us, you'll get even more mileage out of it.
Thank you from the Dove TV.
Well, welcome back, and I've been looking forward to our next guest. Dr. Christina Crenshaw is with us, an assistant professor at the Arizona Christian University and a fellow with the university's Cultural Research Center. She has more than 25 years of experience as a professor, researcher, writer, speaker, and has taught at institutions including Baylor University, Dallas Theological Seminary, Southwestern Seminary, and she's authored a fascinating book called Redeeming Justice, Reclaiming God's Vision for Doing Good in the World. And you may want to check that out. That's not the right website. Let's go to the other one. And she does have a website, redeemingjusticebook.com, redeemingjusticebook.com. Dr. Crenshaw, good to see you. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me. How are you doing?
Thank you. What provoked you to take this on?
Yeah, so a couple of things. I would say foremost, we all lived through 2020, and I think that we looked around and we thought, how can the world be so crazy and chaotic? How are so many people missing it? And I was particularly grieved by the church. I expect the world to be chaotic. I expect the world to be confusing. But I thought that the church had better language, better theology around this. So that was really disorienting, I think, for a lot of people. And then I had my own personal experience. I had an attempted cancel culture by a few students at Baylor University when I spoke up against Biden redefining Title IX, said it was a bad idea that males needed their own spaces and females needed their own spaces. And so I had a lot of time to give some thought to this, and that was really the catalyst for the book.
Let me ask you a 30,000-foot view question. Do you think our overall justice system has been compromised?
Oh, I do. Absolutely. I think that if we're talking kind of more of like culturally, political landscape, absolutely. Where I see it most prominently, though, is within the church, within the Big C church, the way that we have looked to non-believers or lukewarm believers for our litmus and our touchstone on what is true, what God deems to be good and just and beautiful, rather than actually going to God's word or looking to the whole of church history.
Wow. So if a church is perceived with no boundaries, based upon a biblical worldview, I guess, that could be very confusing.
Yes. So if we're talking just within the church, it becomes heretical very quickly.
Right.
And if we're talking outside the walls of the church, then I would say it becomes really chaotic. One of the things that my book looks at is this idea of it's a Marxist idea from the Frankfurt School of Thought, where we get a lot of our current contemporary ideas of justice, things like oppressed and oppressor, the idea of toppling hierarchies, making sure that if there is a victim, that they get some sort of vindication, when the biblical narrative actually negates all of that. It says, listen, according to God's word, you have all been victimizers, you have all been oppressors, but good news, in Jesus, there is a way forward. There is redemption and restoration, and it's not the human heart, it's actually God's heart to see that sort of justice prevail.
In your book, you mentioned you have, quote, a high justice meter. What is that?
Yeah, so in the book, I start the book with a time my husband and I witnessed a young girl in Greece who couldn't have been more than 13 or 14-year-old being trafficked. We were on a mission trip and we were trained to spot it, and we alerted the authorities, we alerted the pilot, we did everything that we could to intervene. And I think the people of Greece, particularly after the Syrian refugee crisis, were just probably pretty compassion weary. Nobody seemed to have as high a sense of justice as the few of us who were American. And really, that was a reflective moment for me. What is it about the American culture? What is it more specifically about the Judeo-Christian worldview that leads us to want to fight for truth, that leads us to want to fight for good? And as I was writing the book over this 2-3 year process, it gave me time to reflect on when did I first realize that I was bent towards, in Jesus' name, righting wrongs, making whole, really looking out for the underdog, the marginalized, which are all good. I mean, these are words that have been co-opted and hijacked by secular justice narratives and movements. But what this book hopes to do is to rightly bring it back to the Lord and to prove that these were actually first biblical concepts long before they were distorted and manipulated by social justice. So a high justice meter, I think that the Lord has woven that into all of our hearts. I just don't know how many of us realize that until you're confronted with an injustice.
So would you qualify that as a highly personal, transcendent experience in your life?
I don't know if that in itself was a transcendent experience per se, but what I can say is that it was really formative for my work and research. I was already a professor, already doing anti-human trafficking prevention awareness research as my research agenda. But I think before that it was just data and facts that I knew. And then to be with my husband over on a mission trip, raising awareness about the dangers and evils of human trafficking, and then to see that with my husband, experience that, I would say that was very forging in our marriage, and it really helped him get behind the call that I feel to say, specifically with human trafficking, but larger, even with social injustice, to say, hey, the church can and should and always has played a role in ending injustices.
Yes. The book is entitled Redeeming Justice. Again, you may want to check it out. The website is redeemingjusticebook.com, and there's a picture of the landing page of the website there, redeemingjusticebook.com. Excuse me, Dr. Crenshaw, we hear the term social justice, and it has pretty much dominated the media, and it has influenced true justice. How did you tackle that?
How did I tackle? So what the book does is it breaks down into 3 parts. The first part, I look at this cultural moment, and I'm sort of taking the reader into this place of how did we get here? How did we seemingly wake up one day and start calling males females, and that we're all just supposed to play along? How did we wake up one day and get to a place where we think it's okay to clone children in the womb and leave them indefinitely to freeze through IVF freezers? Just so many of these ethical, medical questions that the church has seemingly been silent on, I wanted the first part to take the reader into we didn't just wake up, that this was a slow thought creep from the Frankfurt School of Thought, from Marxism that made its way into higher ed and then made its way into the public square. Then the second part of the book looks at a Christian worldview. I want the reader to see when you look at life through the lens of a biblical worldview, it radically changes the way that you approach social justice, the way that you approach work, the way you approach every facet of life. And then the last part of the book looks at, well, what does scripture and church history have to say about justice? When we look at everything from retributive justice, would be more of an eye for an eye. Things like distributive justice, when we look at, like a year of Jubilee, when debt is forgiven and goods are distributed. And there's 7 different facets of it. What is God's heart on justice? And as best we can discern and glean, how does that fit then into this contemporary view of American government, or at least what the Western thought? And so my hope is that this will be a book that reminds, hey, culture has an opinion on social justice, and it does not square well or reconcile with what God's heart is for biblical justice. And it was always God's idea long before it was humanity's.
You also deal with the fact that every person is made in the image of God. I wonder if we've kind of lost the basics of Genesis. If we don't understand that of all the things that was created, we are the ones that was created in his likeness and image. If we don't get that, then everything else could become negotiable.
Yeah, I agree. I've talked with a friend of mine, Lauren McAfee. She's a writer and speaker and daughter of the founders of Hobby Lobby, very pro-life advocate. But we have talked about how there's so much in Genesis 1. It's almost like you cannot read the rest of Scripture unless you get the first few chapters of Genesis down, because God sets order out of chaos. He says there is day, there is night, there is right, there's a wrong, there's man, there is woman. It's not good for man to be alone. So much of the whole of the biblical narrative of creation, fall, redemption, and restoration starts within those first chapters. But to your question, yes, you're right. What is unique about the Christian worldview that no other religion can claim is the Imago Dei, the idea that God made us in his image with inherent and intrinsic value and worth. That is why the early church essentially ended infanticide. That's why the medieval church started universities and seminaries for education. That's why when we get to the Reformation, we have people like Martin Luther who are contending that the work that you do, your everyday work, even outside the walls of the church, matters and can be ministry. When we get to these contemporary times, I think sort of that what will mark our generation is the idea of ending injustice. Like, where were you when we were desegregating? Where were you when we were rightly calling males and females what they are and protecting genders? So that is sort of like the justice cause of our day that has very biblical roots that go all the way back to the Imago Dei.
Wow, beautiful. Let me take a quick break here. I have more questions about your challenge in the academic world. Let me say to our viewers and listeners, check out Dr. Crenshaw's book called Redeeming Justice, Reclaiming God's Vision for Doing Good in the World. There's a picture of the landing page and a picture of the cover of the book. You can go to redeemingjusticebook.com. We'll be right back.
The 71.5 Golf Challenge arrives Saturday, May 16th with a 4-person scramble, morning and afternoon shotguns, and a 6:30 award social. Register your team by April 1st for an early bird special. Score the team player pack for just $20 instead of $100 with the code EARLYBIRDIE. Become a sponsor and help kids across Southern Oregon. Visit 715.org or call 541-779-3275. At the 71.5 Golf Challenge, your drive saves lives.
Over time, every wall tells a story, but sometimes those stories need a fresh start. At Chris Silva Painting, we specialize in transforming indoor spaces, whether it's your family home or your business workspace. With premium paints, flexible scheduling, and expert attention to detail, we make the process simple and stress-free so you can focus on what matters most, living and working in a space you love. From bold new colors to subtle tones of sophistication, let Chris Silva Painting bring your vision to life, one wall at a time. Chris and his crew are courteous, they're efficient, organized, timely, and clean. Chris Silva Painting also offers military discounts. At Chris Silva Painting, our mission statement is to bring Christ's heart and principles to our customers and our job sites. We do that with honesty, integrity, and hard work. We don't cut corners, we paint them. CCB number 176097. Chris Silva Painting, 541-890-3960. 541-890-3960.
The John Ankerberg Show offers real answers to tough questions. Does God exist? Why is there suffering in this world? Is there evidence Jesus truly rose from the dead? What is the best explanation for the origin of the universe? For 40 years, Dr. John Ankerberg has hosted discussions on these and other topics with top Christian experts. Discover the information you need to better understand your faith and share it with others.
Watch The John Ankerberg Show weekdays at 4 on the Dove TV.
Okay, welcome back. What an honor to have with us today Dr. Christina Crenshaw. She's an assistant professor there at Arizona Christian University, and she's also a fellow at the university's Cultural Research Center. Her book is fascinating. It's called Redeeming Justice, Reclaiming God's Vision for Doing Good in the World. And it does have its own website, redeemingjusticebook.com. And again, Dr. Crenshaw, thank you for your time. You're fascinating. I want to come back to when you received your significant backlash in the academic world for taking your position. I guess a couple of things there. Were you surprised by that?
Oh, I was absolutely shocked, blindsided, but mostly grieved. If I'm going to choose one word, mostly grieved.
Okay. Has all of academia been converted to wokeism?
Well, it would seem so on the macro level, absolutely. And higher education has always been more progressive than the public square. I think that what we have realized over the last 3-4 decades is that a lot of what was in higher education has made its way out into the public square. You know, critical theories, Marxist ideology, the sexual revolution, for example. So the lines between just higher ed and the public square have become blurrier than ever. So when we say, you know, is higher education woke? Yes, but I think that it's a direct symbiotic relationship between the fact that most of culture has become woke and progressive. And so there's very few of us who are trying to bring back the pendulum shift, bring it back to center, bring it back to Christ. And that's true at Christian universities as well, unfortunately. Yeah. That has been my experience.
It's been noted that just about every major denomination has been split down the middle within the last several years over the LGBTQ agenda. And when we are trying to defend biblical justice, and yet we're being intimidated by fellow believers, it's kind of left us in a corner. And I don't know if we're prepared for this. What's your take?
Yeah, so this is one of the aspects that has actually really grieved me because, again, I expect culture to be confused on this. It's not shocking to me when people who are outside of the church, people who are not believers, want to call evil good and good evil. Scripture warns us that that's going to be the case. Where I'm continuously lamenting is when people who are professed believers don't have an apologetics for what they believe, or they have a very distorted understanding of God's word that comes more from what the world would say rather than what the Bible would say. So specifically with the question you're asking, I have just encouraged people, say I encounter someone who professes to be a Christian, someone like a James Tallarico. He's been in the news a lot lately here in Texas, and he's claiming that God is non-binary and that people can be non-binary. I think that it is our responsibility as Christians to always give an account, as Paul says, for what we believe, give an apologetics, and just say, hey, when we go back to the early chapters of Genesis, I can't find evidence that God supports that claim, that he makes that claim, supports that claim. When I look at the whole of Scripture, it's not there. And then when I look at the whole of church history, so the hubris it takes for us to wake up in this contemporary cultural moment and say, I've got it, and the rest of the 2,000 years of Christianity and church history has been wrong, is really naive. I mean, naive at best and evil at worst. So I think that as Bible-believing Christians, we've got to get better and more vocal in love with truth, say, I'm so sorry, that just actually doesn't track with Scripture or with an apologetics teaching of what you're claiming.
Well, that is beautifully said. Thank you. It appears that every tenet of biblical justice has been politicized in an attempt to keep the church away from it and pastors for speaking on it. Or am I missing something here?
Yeah, I do think the separation of church and state is sticky. And I start by reminding my own college students, this was a Danbury Baptist idea. This was a Jeffersonian idea. This is, there is an establishment clause. We do want protection for the church from the state. Our founding fathers and the Puritans who came here for religious freedom were very wise to want that separation. However, that does not mean that our country was intended to negate or to reject a Christian worldview. In fact, if you read our early documents, our founding documents, and you read the early founding fathers, that is the only worldview they had. Even if we're going to say that they were deist, they were still theist. They weren't looking at an Islamic worldview or a postmodern worldview. They weren't looking at a Buddhist worldview. Their worldview was deeply embedded in what does Scripture say about the nature of man? What does Scripture say about the nature of what is good and evil? And how do we build our country around that? And so I think to answer your question, that's another reminder that we have to get people in the public square, is that we don't have a Western democracy without a Judeo-Christian perspective on what it looks like to run a democracy. It falls apart. So that is where I think as Christians have to push back on the idea of we're not asking for a theocracy. This is not Christian nationalism. This is about reminding people that the reason Christians lead in adoption care, the reason we lead in food pantry services, the reason we lead in hospitals is because we have a Christian worldview that tells us God values everyone. And this is an opportunity to bring justice to people, not just for the temporal, but also for the eternal.
Gosh, that's beautiful. You also argue, given where we are today in the culture, that faith cannot remain private or isolated from society. And yet we're a little reluctant to go in there because we get beat up pretty bad. But what would you say to us now, today, the church, the leadership? I mean, isn't this kind of like our hour, so to speak, to be in society?
Yes, I would agree with that. I do have compassion for, your local church pastor who really feels called to shepherd his sheep and to speak specifically to his congregation. I don't know that everybody is called to have a microphone in their hand, so to speak. And so I sympathize with that. I do think that whoever God has given and entrusted into you, whether that is your children, you're a stay-at-home mom, it's a pastor and it's your congregation, it's the co-workers that you lead with, you are obliged by Scripture to preach the truth at all times and to love people well. And those two are, they're interdependent upon each other, because you can't really love people well unless you're speaking truth. And if you are embedded in God's truth, you're going to want to naturally love others. So I do think, to answer your question, this is the hour of rising up to say, I'm sorry, that's not true. This is what is true. And we've shrinked back from that in the past, really 20, 30 years. But I've seen it most prominently on college campuses, even particularly Christian college campuses, because we're too afraid to offend. And we've got to get over the idea that offending someone is the worst thing we can do. As a mother, I inadvertently offend my children all the time, but I want to do it. I always want to do it from a posture of humility and not hubris. I want to do it from a place of truth and love. And so, to give just kind of a funny quip of an example, my 6th grader still thinks he's going to grow up to play in the NBA. And statistically speaking, it's probably just not going to happen. It's not in the cards for him. And so we have these slow conversations about, like, we need to find you a plan B, like, if that happens for you, great. But I think the worst thing I could do as a mother is just to let him think that he's ever going to have the height or the connections or come out of Waco, Texas in a private school going into the NBA. That would not be a very loving thing for me to do as a mother. So it is that fine line of, like, how can I come alongside you and help you? I see that you're believing this, and sometimes what they're believing is a lie. And how do I give you the truth? Because I love you, I want you to know the full truth. So I think that is the balance we have to play, even within politics. And if you're in a position in politics where you've got the right to, the ability to vote and to make legislations and policies, I would hope that as a Christian, you would do that from a Christian perspective and posture.
Beautiful. You're fascinating. I want to get you back, Dr. Crenshaw, but what do you want people to take away from your book?
Well, thank you for asking. As I wrote it, I've taught English. I've been a writer kind of more in academic spaces until I did my first trade book. But I always tell my students, and I told myself, pick an audience, because you're writing to one particular audience. Mm-hmm. My primary hope is to reach millennials and Gen Z who track on all of the studies, Barna, Pew, all of the different polls, that they love justice. They are a very high justice generation. The problem is they have lost the biblical narrative of what constitutes justice. And so for your listeners, if they're grandparents, if they're parents to this generation, I would hope they would buy this book so they can speak that common language with their kids and remind them of, like, hey, James Tallarico wasn't the one to invent social justice. It was actually the Lord. Let's look and see what he has to say rather than what James Tallarico has to say.
Beautiful. Thank you for your time. Can we get you back sometime?
I'd love it. Yes,
okay.
I'd love to.
Check out Dr. Christina Crenshaw's book. It's called Redeeming Justice, and that's also the website, redeemingjusticebook.com. There's a picture of the book, picture of the website. I think you'll find it fascinating, available at Amazon online as well. Thank you so much. Your answers were just beautiful. Thank you. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you for having me.
Okay.
Your property demands equipment with more reliability, durability, and versatility built in. Kubota equipment is ready to get the job done right.
Come fall in love with Northridge Senior Living, where contemporary